Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the ONW radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God! We have a new champion!
And yes, welcome to another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. My name is Owen. I am your Shark Break Kid, and I am one of the co-defending new ONW Predictions champions with my brochacho, the one and only, the modern-day Maharaja Matthew. How are you, Matthew?
Living the dream, baby. I'm glad to be a brochacho with you.
Doesn't it feel good to be champs together?
Feels good to be champs together.
We've been doing this a while now, and I'll tell you what, we've never been champions together. So it's a new era, definitely over here at Oh No Wrestling Podcast.
This is gonna be a good run.
Yeah, and with us is the former champion. You know, that double J Jabroni, his name is Jay Jansen. We love him, and thank you for joining us once again, Jay.
Tell you guys what, enjoy your temporary run because we got another pay-per-view coming up, and I'm going to get that title back.
Well,
I just felt bad. I wanted you guys to keep it warm for me for a little bit, so I figured the best way was just to let you both take it. So I actually set up that whole thing to work out the way it did.
Okay, so you're going to...
All pay-per-view is a fix.
You saw both of us send in our predictions before you, and then you're like, I think I could call it. They're gonna even out. I'm gonna let them win together.
Champions Advantage does allow that. Champions Advantage does allow it, but he took full heel advantage of that stipulation. I also like
playing the long game.
I also like this every time I seem to win one of these, it comes on these weekends or these weeks where I've got one like right after and I've got to defend it right away, and this is no exception to that. Like the wrestling schedule is nuts these days, right? Like we're gonna get to this in length tonight because we're talking, we just had Wrestle Dream. We're coming off this huge like weekends like before that where we had, All In and All Out wasn't even that long ago. And then we've got I think a WWE and NXT pay-per-view in between. Then we've got, Wrestle Dream popping up and straight into now Fastlane, which we will be predicting in the second half of this broadcast. But yeah, it's is it too much wrestling? Yes. Is it still a good thing for the wrestling business and for us fans? Yes. And that's the way I look at it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I like that you can pick and choose. Like, there's just stuff for everyone, and you don't have to catch up on everything. It'd be crazy to think that, I don't know, that you were. If you were, good for you. But, like, it's a lot. And there's just some stuff that I don't watch, and sometimes I'm okay with not watching other shit. Like, Rampage is like a never watch now. I used to
I think
watch
we're
it
all
the
there,
time, right?
Yeah,
it's like... Collision, not watching live most of the time. I do catch it sometimes, but like if not, I'm watching it on the Sunday, morning or something like that. So I don't know, but like, it'll be interesting when Raw and SmackDown like kind of change dates if that actually does happen as well. and see how that kind of jams things up. So
Are you
I
in
like
favor?
it. There's options.
All right. The more blanket answer, or the more blanket question rather, is: are you or are you not in favor of 12 AEW pay-per-views every year?
That's an absolute lot.
It's a tough ask at the pay-per-view price. Can you do it? Can you pull it off if this is on a streaming service like a Max or something like that? Yeah, I think it can probably work. But when you're asking, for American viewers, $50 a pop every month, I think you're going to see a significant decrease in a lot of those pay-per-view numbers.
Yep. And when I went dark in 2006, 2007 and stopped watching wrestling, it was because WWE had just gone to the monthly pay-per-view cycle, and I gotta tell you, especially being in a family and having a kid, and now I'm putting a kid through college, I don't have the money to pay $50-$60 on a pay-per-view every week. And
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially when you're talking about multiple wrestling companies. Thank God WWE's on Peacock, but then you have other services like the Ring of Honor service, you got New Japan stuff, you got the NWA service. I mean, it's a spoil of riches, really. I mean, this is something that we all kind of wanted. We wanted some more wrestling because it breeds good competition. But it can't be overwhelming. Like Matthew said, I tend to skip some things too. Like NXT, I try to get to. Rampage is really hard for me. Raw is usually on in the background. It's tough.
There can't be anybody that it isn't their job that watches literally everything. I don't think it would be humanly possible to do that. Like, I think it would have to be your job. Or, I mean, I guess it would be humanly possible, but you wouldn't have a life, right?
Wrestling journalists,
right,
Yeah.
right. Like, I mean,
you just
I feel
spend the rest of your
sorry.
time on Twitter.
I do. Well, I do feel sorry for Meltzer and stuff at times. Like, you hear him talking about it, and he's just like, "Yeah, it's my anniversary. I'm gonna have to watch these 3 shows, to try and squeeze them in around my anniversary dinners and trips and all this sort of stuff." And that's kind of at that point, it does become obviously laborious. It becomes a chore. Like, you're not enjoying wrestling because you want to watch it. And I mean, I felt that way off and on, even now, like with kind of WWE programming, right? Like, it's not as, must watch TV. I'll go and watch highlights. I will frequently miss Raws and SmackDowns, and I'll frequently miss NXTs. I always tend to catch up on enough of it to know what's going on and to be able to see the highlights and the big moments. But I'm not making appointment viewing for it at this point. And I thought that's what was interesting too with, what we're going to talk about here just now in Wrestle Dream. It came out of nowhere. Like, wasn't this, I don't know that this was announced prior to All In, was it? Like, wasn't it right around that All In weekend that this was announced?
I saw it the other day. It was pretty short time.
I want to say it was within 4 weeks. I want to say it was.
Yeah, it was pretty. I'll look it up. I'm looking it up right now. I do want to say, as I'm looking it up though, your question about the pay-per-views, I think it's a lot. I think there was kind of there could have been a happy medium, but I understand if they're going to Max, that part of the deal would be putting on one per month. They probably have that and have to. I think picking up what they've done has been pretty good, with these, because they put on pretty good pay-per-views, especially recently, especially kind of back to back, but I wonder what they're going to do, because Jay mentioned, Honor Club, right? Does that get roped in? And then do they do more crossover with Ring of Honor on some of these pay-per-views? And are they, and then I wonder what their TV rights deals are like, and if they still have to then do those Battle of the Belts and all of these Fighter Fests and things like that.
Tony's trying to soften up the networks to the idea of a Ring of Honor television show. They didn't want any interest in that brand for a long time. They wanted AEW. They didn't want anything to do with Ring of Honor. I think he's trying to get across that maybe that's what Rampage should be, is quite frankly, that's what Rampage should be. It should be a 1 hour, once a week, TV show with just all Ring of Honor talent to showcase that talent and use that as almost like their NXT that is kind of a developmental. I think that that's also why you're seeing so many AEW stars, pretty much all of them except for Athena, which has been more of a branded ROH star on, you know, this side of things. So we're seeing them all with the belts, right? You're seeing there's not a single person on that side of things apart from Athena that has a ROH belt. Like every single one is kind of an AEW talent. Are they going to merge belts? Are they going to kind of like use that to, you know, strengthen a Ring of Honor, you know, TV deal? I think all that's incredibly possible. Ring of Honor Club, I don't know what their subscribers are at now, but I know it can't be that many. I know it can't be. I don't hear enough buzz about the weekly television to justify that even really existing. That back catalog.
Either of you subscribe?
I've never subscribed. No, I see no reason to. I've bought a couple
we're big
of
wrestling fans, and we don't, and that's telling.
And I've bought a couple. I bought a couple of the pay-per-views. I've definitely missed one or two, but I've definitely bought a couple of them. But I feel like I think that's also the Ring of Honor archive, and what he bought is 100% valuable to a Max or a streaming service, though. That's where the money is with that. You can sell that with like a partial AEW archive, even if it's just pay-per-views of AEW pay-per-views, but you can throw that on a Max instantly, right? Like that's and that will have value. So that's not a bad idea, but we need to move on because we can hypothetically talk about the business side of things all day long. I'm more interested.
Yeah, it was announced on August 27th, by the way. So it was announced on the All In media scrum.
That's it. Okay, then perfect. Yeah, I thought it was. I knew it was right around there. Speaking of Wrestle Dream, though, in general, that's give our, now that the dust has settled, we've had a couple days to think about it. What do you rate the pay-per-view out of 10? We'll give it 10, huh?
I give it an 8 out of 10. It was a good show. I mean, that the Danielson Sabre match was absolutely probably my match of the year. I mean, just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
There not everything hit, but most everything did pretty well. And I got to be honest with you, it wasn't a pay-per-view I was particularly looking forward going into it. The go home was strong. I mean, hell, we were there for the go home, so that helped, you know, my enthusiasm going into it. But AEW does a really good job of that with their go home shows. Their go home shows, they seriously hype you up. Where WWE kind of drops the ball on them from time to time, but yeah, I give it like an 8 out of 10 personally.
I'm a 7.5. I'm just a touch lower, but I don't think 8's unfair. What about you, Matthew?
I was right around the 8.
Right around the 8. Like yeah. It was solid, and I think part of it, and most of what I talk about with this dust settling is the obvious, right? It's the end of the show. It's the Edge debut, or the Adam Copeland debut. And it just felt more like, it is a bad thing. I was going to say not this is a bad thing, but I do think it's a bad thing. It felt like the identical Edge we just saw in WWE that was a failure since 2020 when he returned, showing up in AEW. I understand he does probably bring with him an audience. He's definitely going to move the needle. Probably a good hire, but I don't know that it's for me. Like this Edge character or this Adam character or whatever, this Adam Copeland thing, I'm still so skeptical that at the end of that pay-per-view, I was like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm like, you know, just a little bit. What about you?
I'm fine with it. Just because I don't know what else I would have expected. I mean,
does he fill the Punk bubble? Does he fill that void? Does he fill that void? Are they trying to fill that void now that Punk has obviously departed or parted ways with the company or been fired because he's a fucking asshole? Does this, in your minds, sort of soften that blow with fans? Does this help or hurt that argument?
It's something different than Punk. If you were putting together a puzzle, you know, Punk would kind of be towards the center where Edge would be the pivotal edge piece.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's awful,
No.
but it's true. He's you know, I'm actually excited for this because I think about what Sting was like before AEW, what Christian was like before AEW, and they were still interesting characters, but they just didn't do great in their last WWE runs.
No.
And AEW has made them, very interesting again. And I think with Edge, it's going to be interesting to see, how much of that is, we get solid, legitimate wrestling matches, or is it just going to be more sports entertainment Edge? Honestly, I'm down with either. I'm excited to see what kind of matches we get out of this, and I was actually surprised at the pay-per-view. I felt like he was going to come out, but it was still a pop for me.
You, Matthew, feel about the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point. Like Jay said, I mean, and I hadn't really thought about this way until you said it, but I completely agree that they've done great with people. Like, I wasn't super stoked on Christian when he first.
It was
came
kind
over,
of that one was kind of a letdown at the time because so many other people hadn't been signed. Like we knew like there were some people in the free market kind of floating around, and like, like we were getting the odd one of like jumping ship with your Andrades, for instance, and like your Malachis. And I remember when Christian in particular, it was the Hall of Fame worthy talent. Remember, that was the line that kept being pushed as the marketing ploy. And it did, like, I was like, cool, Christian, but I wasn't. I think
I can hear Christian saying, "I'm a Hall of Fame worthy talent."
Yeah, I can hear him saying that too.
I'm a Hall of Fame worthy dad, is what he would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think at the time it was slightly underwhelming, but it was also a weird one because they were in that real heavy time where they were real like linked with Impact. And I think it meant a lot to that relationship, and I think it meant a lot to the fans of Impact as well. I mean, let's not forget all the stuff he dropped, or he beat Kenny for that Impact title, right? And then went over to Impact and did all that stuff. So, I think that was very crucial. And he was also pretty much a face when he came in. It took a little while to get to where we are with this Christian now, which is full-blown asshole awesomeness. And I think that's like the charisma that was always there in Christian that we'd seen before in the past came out again. I'm just hoping the same happens with Edge. Edge has it somewhere in there because we've seen it before, but we haven't seen it in a long time. I don't need Adam Copeland coming being like, I want to be here. I want to teach all the young kids. I want to do, and replicating the same speeches that CM Punk basically, just had. Like, it needs to be different. And I have a bad feeling it's just going to be kind of a rehash of all of that. And that's why I feel a little bit like on the whole thing. And because of that, it sours my Wrestle Dream, like, opinion overall.
I think
you're just wrong.
I think had he shown up in any other capacity other than just what he has been, I think everyone would be like, "What the fuck is that? I'm pissed." Like, I just don't like. What would you have done with him?
I wouldn't have had him do the. Edge loves to do like the run to the side of the stage, run to the other side of the stage. I would have had it be a more serious Edge, actually. I would have had that start the process to like kind of reinforce actually what this Christian character is so diabolical that like, and the one guy that can kind of like put a stop to that is his former best friend. I would have had something that was just like facially different. It was too like I don't know. It was just too Edge. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done different, but I hope, and I don't know that they know either, but I hope in time they can find that. And I think they will. I'm just crossing my fingers.
What if he had a cape?
I'm pro cape. I've always been pro cape. I think
Lee cape?
Yeah, well, Kane cape is good. Neville cape is good. How
about that with a hat, like the Santana hat, or the Julia Hart hat, even
top hat. I was gonna go top hat. Top hat might have been cool. I was gonna go. What about get that old Becky Lynch gear out, dust that off, throw the steam on there, and pop that on Edge. Now we got something cooking.
Also, let's not diminish. I mean, Christian may be a Hall of Fame worthy talent, but Adam Copeland was one of two people who wrestled in the greatest wrestling match.
That's true.
Ever.
That is true.
So
he's not
versus Randy Orton, right? Yeah.
Edge isn't in the Hall of Fame, right? Has he been inducted or?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's not popping out in my head if he has, because logically Christian would have to be the guy to, induct him. Like I could see a world where Christian was left out and Edge got in. Yeah. Okay. So
he was inducted after the year after he retired. So
yeah, I remember that now. I remember that because he was still active. He actually came back. Wait. So what year was that?
2012.
So he was inducted in 2012.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wow.
Because his neck stuff, and he retired in 2011.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
I do agree. Like,
I hope they play with that. By the way, like, because they're obviously gonna feud at some point. Yeah. I hope it's not their first feud, but I hope they play with that. Like, I'm a Hall of Famer and you're not, Jay. And they're gonna stuff like that.
Yeah. I will say the one thing I do agree with you on is that I think like if they need to stay away from like that kind of CM Punkish type thing where he comes out every week, does a thing like you're not making the rounds, like you're here to like, and they're saying he's there to get to work. I guess maybe they'll probably do it this week on all of their shows, right? But I think like beyond that, like you can't like let him say that stuff like in interviews and like scrums or whatever, like because that is hopefully what he's there to do and bring something in. But he doesn't need to be like.
We don't need that for 3 months on TV, like CM Punk in every city, like that, because it was getting boring, right? Every promo was almost identical. I think
this one is hopefully gonna move pretty quickly. Hopefully they're fast laning this one.
See,
did you see what I did there? But like because he's been active, in like so recently, right? And just did like that huge, so like he's not like coming back after 7 years.
That does make a big difference. I also don't think that you need to hop into Christian right away. I think that you need to let that simmer. I don't think it's actually like you have them like interact and like they're playing it perfect. If you've seen Christian in this scrum, like he showed up, like I forget what he exactly says, but he's kind of keeping an eye, but he's not like, fuck you, Adam, like, I'll be ready to take him on at any moment and all this type of stuff. Like, no, like it. And even with tonight's opening to Dynamite, which has just happened as we started recording, Adam's first, interactions were with Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. They weren't with a Christian, right? So that's like interesting. I do like that. I think that they need to obviously keep the Christian thing on there because that's what's going to happen. You can do a couple feuds. You can get to the Christian thing. And then once you're there, then you're probably ready at that point in 6 months to turn Christian face and align with Adam, and they can do some funny shit together or something. Like they can tag team, they can do some like entertaining stuff together, right? I think Christian is a better face than this Adam will be a heel.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree?
Yeah,
I think so. I can't, because maybe it's probably because of the Judgment Day thing, right? Like they toyed with turning him heel and he was going all dark and spooky and it didn't work. So I'm scared that they like try and turn Edge heel and it gets to like that intense Edge thing. And like, I don't need any of that.
I think it's a difference between how the WWE and AEW handles things. I mean, remember, this is Vince McMahon who wanted FTR to have the Revival to have a gimmick where they were wearing clocks.
Oh yeah, the Flavor Flav, like FTR Flavor Flav. Yeah, the Revival meets Flavor Flav.
So it's not like their writer. I always want to say writers, but we all know the writer is still one person and one person only who has a say. And he, I think he's the reason why, like the Sting program just didn't work, and why Edge's return just didn't work, why Daniel Bryan's return just didn't work. And AEW gives their people so, I hate to sound like an AEW fanboy, but man, they just they give freedom, and they give people a chance to work a program the way that they want to, and I think in most times that's been very successful. So I'm really interested to see where it goes with Edge. I came out of the pay-per-view thinking it was going to be maybe Edge, Sting, and Darby Allin versus Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess not if they're going a different direction in the opening tonight. So.
Well, let's also just, we can kind of backtrack. We can start from the main event and go from there, right? If we want to do whatever we want over here. But we got the Nick Wayne turn and the aligning with Christian Cage, which obviously takes that away as well, right? Like you can't do that anymore. So, and I 100% thought that was the direction they were going. They were going to align Nick Wayne with Edge, because let's be real, what a perfect like mentor to sort of have in the business for Nick Wayne, but I like it kind of. It didn't make a lot of kayfabe sense because of the match that happened earlier in the night that, Nick Wayne got kind of pummeled. For him to align with, Christian, but I don't hate it for what they're going to probably be able to do long term. Like I can see this being actually really fun on TV with Nick Wayne and Christian. I think, and behind the scenes, Nick Wayne's gonna learn quite a lot from Christian. I'm very, very sure of it.
I just gotta tell you guys, I just Googled something out of curiosity. I was wondering if Edge had a father. And it came up, Adam Joseph Copeland was born in Orangeville, Ontario, the son of Judy Lynn Copeland, a single mother who worked 2 jobs to support him.
Oh, yeah, that's part of his story.
He is said to have never met his father
or
even seen a picture of him.
Oh, my God, they're gonna totally use that.
Christian's going to dig up a picture of him and be like, this was your father.
What if Christian was smart enough this whole time, and they've been talking about this, to start this father thing this much in advance and get it over to be the convincing thing to get Adam to sign with it? Dude, I got a built-in program for you. Like, come over. Like
that would be amazing. And when he shows him the picture of his father that he digs up, it's Christian's father.
It's yes, or it's a photoshopped Christian. Yes, it's a photoshopped Christian. It's like just looks just like him.
Still has the turtleneck.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the only other thing about Adam that I find it off-putting. What's with that sunken face thing? He's always had that weird bone structure, but his face just looks like it's like eating itself. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it looks a little methy.
He looks like he has jaundice or something.
He does, right? Like I'm not alone here. Like it's sort of an off-putting thing, and I don't get it. Like. I hope he's okay.
Face, yeah.
I was gonna say, do you think it's like I don't know. I mean, some of his neck surgeries and stuff like that.
Yes. I mean, he's 49.
He's kind of always looked like that, though. He's kind of always had that hair rocker look. But that's the reason he is probably cast in Vikings, because dude does look like a legit Viking if you were to go off of like pop culture.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We talked very briefly about Zack Sabre Jr. versus Daniel Bryan, but I want to spend the enough time on this to give it its justification. I that was one of those I'm speechless matches. Like that was. It didn't matter the outcome, really. It didn't matter who won. Like I think there's a way that you can have that same match and have Zack Sabre Jr. win it. I'm glad that he didn't, because it means that we get more. And I think that that's clearly the plan, and it's clearly what they're going to do. But did you catch all the selling, of course, of Daniel Bryan's arm? Like, I mean, that was like a huge story of that match that told the tale of Danielson was, being, very protective of that arm. And every time that Zach got close to it, he had to make kind of like an emergency play to, keep him away from that. And that's sort of the reason why I had suspected that Zack Sabre Jr. might win this, because like it was that weak link. It was that thing that was going to get him. I do definitely think it is a contender for match of the year. I think Psychology was fantastic. I think where can you see two in-ring technicians do it like that for that long, that proficiently? I mean, I don't know that I can name many matches like that even come close to that style, to that, like, and it is a style that catch as catch can, sort of wrestling. Like, it's not, I know it's maybe not for everyone, but it's for me, and I'm gay for it. And I fucking want to see more of that on my TV. I thought it was so interesting too. Another podcaster made this really great observation that type of match is usually, this is an observation about gear. That match is usually taking place between a guy in burgundy trunks and a guy in black trunks. This took place with a guy in bright orange versus a guy in bright Seattle green, that neon green they use in Seattle. And I thought that was an actual interesting touch. It made it, as stupid as it sounds, it made it feel more than some PWG or indie match type thing that you'd see that style of technical wrestling in. I don't have many more thoughts. I would love to see this in Japan. I would love to see this in the UK, which is what Zack Sabre Jr. has sort of already proposed. I'm guessing they're going to do a 3-part series with this, right? And please add anything you want to add to this. Like, I was gushing over the match, so I wanted to make sure we spent a decent amount of time on it.
I thought it was amazing. I picked up, I mean, I know they went after the arm, but commentary and everything just kept saying, like, he's fully medically cleared, like, he's stronger than he's ever been. And Danielson said it, like, in leading up a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite or Collision. He was selling
that arm the whole match,
he was
man.
like, you have this many bones or whatever in your body or in your hand and arm. And he was like, and then only one of them wasn't strong, and he's like, and when I'm fully cleared, he's like, it's going to be even stronger than it was before, because it's all like steel. And they kept talking about how he had that metal inside of it. Mox was talking about that, like when he was like, he can hit him.
Part of the problem was the selling of that by Mox. I think Mox was the issue in the proper selling of that, because Danielson in the match was selling that arm. He was absolutely using that to like, he wasn't able to use it at one point in the proper way to get out of a hold, and he had to like do something different to get out of it. It was his thread in the match in his mind. Danielson's a genius when it comes to this. I thoroughly think that, like, even at the end of the match, if you see him, he goes up and he does, like, he's about to do a yes thing, and like not really a yes thing, but he's, celebrating winning the match. He's on the middle rope or whatever he's doing, and he's favoring the arm. Like, he's absolutely like, oh, that shit's a little fucked.
I'm not saying he didn't sell it. I'm just saying
the commentary didn't sell it well.
Poor job by him, the storytelling leading up to it, and the commentary, and in the like packages saying like, he's the strongest he's ever been, he's fully cleared.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Then to continually sell it, I think that's a little premature.
That's a fair point with the story there. I mixed also on Moxley's commentary with this match and the previous one, like, because wasn't it the Starks match and stuff before? Like, he was commentating on the Yuta Starks match, and then it went into, or am I mixing the two up?
No, and he also did the Claudio Josh Barnett match too.
That's the one. That's what I'm mixing up. It was the Claudio Josh Barnett match and the Zack Sabre Danielson match. Well, I get why they were doing it. I don't hate Mox on commentary. I don't need him out there that long. I don't need him out there for 2 matches. I get why they did it because of the BCC, because of all that. I thought it took away too much from both matches. Like, honestly, the Zack Sabre Jr. Danielson match was able to survive that without problem. Now, I did not enjoy the Claudio Barnett match. Now, I don't have a lot of history. I understand what Bloodsport is. I understand who Josh Barnett is. I thought it looked like shit. I thought that match looked like fucking shit.
I'm on the exact opposite end. I loved the Claudio Josh Barnett match.
Really?
I watched 2 Bloodsports now, and I do like Josh Barnett. I like him as the character, and I like his booking as well. For me, the Jon Moxley commentary I thought was fantastic, and I loved it because he was gushing over this match. It was my match of the night as well. Maybe my match of the year.
He was enjoying. I give you that. He was definitely enjoying it. He was
like, I feel like I would gush, and there were a few moments where I just laughed out loud. Where God, one of them where Nigel McGuinness was. Kind of bashing Bryan, and Jon Moxley stands up and is like, "Fucking get him!" Like
oh well, that's
loved it. I love the enthusiasm, and it honestly for me it was the icing on the cake of the match. So
yeah, fair.
I respectfully disagree.
That's perfectly fine. What about you, Matthew?
I really liked his commentary.
All right. I'm on my own.
There was a moment in the Yuta match when he was doing it when who was Yuta wrestling?
Starks.
Oh yeah, Starks. Yeah. Starks like did a couple of things, and he was like, "That's disrespectful. That is just disrespectful." And then he stood up, and he was like, "Make him pay for that shit. Make him pay for that." Like yelling at Yuta.
Yeah, I did like.
There was like 1 or 2 times too. I heard him. It was kind of like under his breath, or like if he tried to do this, he's like, "Oh shit, I fucked that up," or something.
Yeah, he did. No, he definitely did. Someone even commentated on that from the commentary that we're like, see, there's a button here, like you can mute yourself type thing, so you could don't have to hold the It might have been Taz. I can't remember who was up there, but someone was he making the joke like, there's like the cough button like that you have on those things.
Yeah,
which I thought I did think that was funny. But
yeah, I did think the matches were. I thought the match was really good. It was probably match of the night for me too.
I don't see how it is too,
but I think, I thought that I kind of agree with you, Owen. I know what they were doing, but it was just kind of boring to me. That Josh Barnett match was a little boring to me.
Yeah, it was.
But I did like the Yuta Starks match since we're
I liked it a lot more. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I definitely liked it a lot more than I thought it was. I was going to, and it felt like they've done a really good job of rehabilitating Ricky for like the 8th time, of getting him like back to where they needed to go with him. Like, is this the start of a Ricky Mox program? Are we excited about that? Because I kind of am.
If it is, he's got to beat Mox.
Oh, he has to. Absolutely has to be.
Like, he had to win this match too. If he not, like, all the building like they've done with him previously, because they've built him and built him and built him before, and it's like, is this his time to? And then something happens. I don't know what happens. Like, there's an injury, or there's something happens, like where he just it stops for him, the momentum, and then we got to start building him back. So this is a good next step for him. I think he would need to win that match, and I think you could like hold out and have them work towards that match for 4 or 5 weeks.
I think it was the plan all along to have this match to set this up, but at the time Moxley was supposed to be the international champion, and he probably would have been doing all of this the same way to eventually get the international championship on Ricky Starks. I think that's what they were going to do. Obviously, plans change. It's wrestling. I'm not so sure that will happen now, but I don't hate it. Like, it does feel kind of shitty to like, okay, Moxley's cleared now. Ray Phoenix, give him his belt back. Have him, drop it right away. Like, that kind of feels shitty too. But I would do that at the rather than at the expense of Ricky Starks not getting that title reign.
Yeah. Because that'll be better than Ray Phoenix's title reign.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great, he's a great athlete, a great transitional champion. If you're not going to do that with the international title, you have to put it on Swerve. You have to put it on either Swerve or Ricky or a guy. I think Ricky and Swerve are right at that same level. They're right that like lower upper mid card, right? Like they're right there. They haven't quite got there yet. And I think that they both would be very deserving and be very, very good champions with that belt. I think you can go either way with that. And I think a Ricky Swerve feud down the line would be probably pretty awesome too. I think they could do a lot of cool shit with that. So I don't mind that. But yeah, overall that Yuta that Starks Mox program, I think can operate without the belt for now, but we need to still get Starks in. He needs a belt. He does.
We'll probably have Mox versus Big Bill here during this, before the Starks.
Oh, and they're buddies too. They're
Mox
buddies. I think weren't they like I think they were roommates at one point.
Oh, were they?
I
didn't
think
know
so.
that.
I think so.
That's crazy.
I might be
What if,
talking out of my ass.
What if Ricky Starks won the Texas Chainsaw Massacre belt?
Oh well, no one can take that off Double J. I mean, that's yeah.
I hope if he ever wears that again, he comes out with a chainsaw instead of a guitar or something.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I actually thought that belt actually kind of looked cool. Like you could do something with it
nice
if you wanted to do something with it. Let's talk about Hangman and Swerve then. We mentioned Swerve earlier. Like I think my second favorite match of the night. I think it was.
It was a good match.
Yeah. And we said this, didn't we say this too? That there was some like. I thought that they had started off the show really good with their match orders on Wrestle Dream, but the FTR one was massively out of place. And I think I said it, like they should have switched the order, like literally have put the FTR match with where the Swerve Hangman match was, and the Swerve Hangman match was where the FTR match was. Like I think that would have worked better. I just don't think Aussie Open is over enough with American audiences to put it that late in the card.
Yeah.
That it and that and we'll talk about that, I guess, too. Like that was the thing about that FTR Aussie Open match. It felt like FTR trying to do a Young Bucks match. It was try hard. It was too overplanned. I could see the strings. It was something that I want them to stop fucking doing. I want organic FTR matches. It's becoming hypocritical with them. They say they like this one style of wrestling and they do the other. So like, what is it then? Like, is that just a kayfabe thing? Okay, if it is, but I don't know. I think they're kind of hypocritical in a lot of ways with that. That match suffered because of it. I'm not sure I would have necessarily put the titles on Aussie Open, but I'm not sure that they were protected well enough either in this. I also don't think they were over enough to win them. But that Hangman Swerve match, I think that would have. There was a real interesting vibe around that match from the get-go, right? Because Hangman gets booed. I don't think we've ever seen Hangman get like straight up booed. Like there might be people.
I think it was the Swerve hometown thing.
Oh well, I think so too. But I think that could have played in heavier if it was later in the card. Felt like for me, whenever a match is later in the card, it feels like it has more stakes. And I think they could have played heavier on that dynamic if it was later. And if you are going for a heel turn with Hangman, which there are hints of, and there are hints of that, of course, with the Bucks as well. Is this an elite, another elite heel turn? I mean, God knows they got to do kind of something to keep it interesting with the Bucks, but Hangman does seem to be like, faces don't stab their opponents on contract signings with their pen. Like these are things that lead to Hangman becoming a heel. Now, it's hard to be a complete heel when you're against a sociopath like Swerve, but Swerve is so cool, you do kind of want to cheer him. So it's a really interesting dynamic. I think they could have played more with that as like if it was later in the show. But I'm very interested now to see what they do with Hangman and Swerve. I guess they're gonna do that again too, which I'm not like. I want to see that match again. I don't want to see that match again right now. I want them both in different programs for a while before it gets there.
Well, the Swerve and Hangman program with the pen move and the go home show, stabbing him with the pen, dude. I mean, Swerve already swerves when he drives, so that's gonna just mess him up even more. But and going back to what Matthew was saying, yeah, it was totally that hometown reaction. They built up Swerve to be the absolute face there. In fact, they even when they hadn't come out, he even got on the microphone just to establish whose house it was.
Yeah.
And people were just, and I think if they were trying to run him as a heel, they wouldn't have had him get on the mic with like that. So that was a good move. I like where you're going with the idea of turning the Elite heel. I think they need that. Not sure if Kenny needs it right now, but the Bucks and Hangman definitely.
I would keep Kenny face, and I think that would be part of the dissension of things again. Like that kind of has to move forward. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of like Bullet Club thing that happens. I don't know what the hell the Elite are doing. Like it's actually less the Elite. It's more the Bucks. The Bucks, like to me, for me, the Bucks have been heel for a couple months now, really. Like, I don't know why they're really faces. Like, there's not a lot of direction with the Bucks and the Elite. And I guess maybe they're going to go. I mean, it seems so boring for like the Elite to just take on the Don Callis family at this point now, too. Like, it's like kind of done with that. That should be Kenny's like thing, right? Like that should be Kenny's war to fight, not necessarily the Elites. So they do need something, and the Bucks have just got that. They just won that opportunity for a tag team shot, at their time of their choosing. I think it's stupid booking. I think it's way too soon. Like to be even thinking about FTR and the Bucks again.
What if it's the Elite who attacked Jay White at the end of Dynamite last week? And that's the program we're going, is that the Bucks and the Elite are the long story is that they're setting up MJF to be a heel, and like he has this faction going around attacking people because Jay White and his group are pretty popular right now. So if you were to put the Bucks and
do you turn
against them, you probably
do you turn Bullet Club? Yeah, so do you turn Bullet Club gold face while turn the Elite heel and do that?
People are cheering them, dude. I'll tell you.
I mean, Juice and Jay are money. I mean, all the guns. Jay is the most heel of all of them.
Right.
But you can turn heel in the Gun's face in a second. Jay's going to be the hardest with that project, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, when Matthew and I went to Dynamite last Wednesday at the merchandise stand, they were selling little Jay White cutouts for $40. I saw a shitload of people buying those things. So like people love the Bullet Gold Club thing right now. And like I think I've said to you guys, man, the Guns have the best entrance at the show right now. So I think it's very easy to turn them face organically, and I think it's already happening.
Maybe that is where they're going.
The Elite going heel against them, yeah.
So that would require Jay White not winning against MJF. I mean, I don't see Jay White beating MJF at this time for the belt anyway, but it feels like that's like a middle feud, a transitional feud, if you will, before they can get to Elite versus Bucks. Also, MJF needed somebody, so
that's true.
What is that?
What if the Bucks say that they want to go after the Ring of Honor titles that MJF is holding for him for the brochachos that have those, and then let Hangman kind of do like just kind of like let the elite chill for a little bit, let Kenny do his thing with Don Callis family, like let the Bucks do like Ring of Honor titles, and let Hangman kind of start his own thing. You can always come back to the elite thing all the time. They just don't always have to be like going against someone, I feel like. And I feel like even if you did it against Bullet Club right now, it's like, but you do have this thing with the Don Callis family and like I don't know. I just don't think you have to have the elite go against someone all the time. You have enough you could do with storylines to like let the Bucks go do some Ring of Honor stuff, hold on to those, make more TV time for other people because they'll get pops when they come back, or be heels down there, and do some matches on TV. Let all the people who fucking hate them because they like CM Punk boo them loudly. Like, and
you're missing the obvious. You're missing the obvious, Matthew. The Hung Bucks are the trios champions in Ring of Honor, or the 6-man, whatever they call them. They change so you do Freebird Rule, Bullet Club Gold. You can have the Guns, and that's what you do. You have the Guns and Juice. The Guns and Juice can probably beat the Elite or the Hung Bucks, for the Ring of Honor trios or 6-mans. I mean, I guess you could see that. Yeah. I think that would probably make a lot of sense rather than the Bucks go after the MJF, the Ring of Honor tag titles. Like, we don't need a Ring of Honor tag title thing anyway because we've got too many belts. So just let MJF and Adam Cole keep it for 6 months while Adam Cole heals. Who gives a shit? Who honestly gives a shit? Like, just let him do it. Adam Cole, I think they're going to make every effort with this injury, and I do think it's a real injury, that even though he's going to be out of in-ring action, I do think they're absolutely going to keep him on TV as much as they can, even if he's in a cast. I think they're going to, because of the popularity of, the brochachos. And those,
they had that skit tonight where he was at Roddy's house,
and that's the story with those belts, right?
And like watering the plants, and
so, and that's that's part of the story with that. Roddy is probably gonna end up at some point defending with MJF those belts for Adam Cole. Like, that's gonna come into question. Then it's like there's gonna be weird shit where, like, I think MJF and Roddy are finally going to get over their differences and actually become friends, and that's going to piss off the Kingdom, where now it's almost the same story the other way around, where the Kingdom is like, wait, Roddy, you can't be friends with MJF. You're our friend. And there's going to be a whole Adam Cole, who's friends with who, blah, 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 thing going on.
Dude, how about MJF gives Roddy, or Roddy gives MJF a neck brace that's the color of MJF's scarf.
Burgundy,
Oh my God, a Burberry neck brace. So we have to bring this up. You guys, both of you guys went to the Dynamite. It was Dynamite, right? Not Collision, right? You went to Dynamite. Yep.
And Rampage after, basically.
Oh yeah. You guys went to Dynamite wearing the neck braces. You had good seats. I saw you in a lot of the TV. Like, I saw you there. You were, there was a couple of clips of you there, and one Jay Jansen in his neck brace ended up on good old BTE this Monday's BTE. So Colt Cabana, what was he doing? He was like interviewing fans in like the line.
Dude, I don't remember what match it was, but I was like, I'm gonna run some merchandise to actually buy this hoodie, because I wanted to buy this hoodie and I didn't want it to run out. So I'm standing there in line and I see them interviewing people, and I'm just looking out and I was like thinking, because I have that same jumpsuit that Cole Cabana have. So I was like, I should have worn that. And I'm looking out and he points me out. He's like, hey, he looks like Roddy. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was going to scream at him, but they cut me out. And so they walked away, and the whole week I'm like, man, I should watch BTE. And I finally, right before the show, like an hour before the show, I was like, I should check it out. And yeah, I'm right there, and where they're like, that guy looks like Roddy, and I'm about to scream at him. But it was funny. There was 3 of us there, and yeah, you could see us mostly in the segment at the end with Hangman and Swerve. Like, it was hilarious because you could just see the 3 of us, the 3 neck braces looking on,
and the fans and all the fans around us
They
like
loved
loved
it.
it too.
Yeah.
Everyone was yelling at them and like, "Hey, Grit, thanks for keeping like neck health awareness alive."
That's
like,
awesome.
You know, neck strong people would walk by.
Neck
there was
strong.
one other guy like over by the ramp who had one on too.
Okay, so I was gonna ask that exact question. Were you the only ones that you saw with neck braces?
We saw one other
guy.
Yeah,
because
well,
I
2
hadn't
other
seen.
guys.
I
There's
haven't
one guy
seen
who had a
that.
regular one like us, and the one guy who had one that actually had neck strong painted.
Okay.
That guy's
and you
a
see him in
try
the
hard. That guy's a
show.
try hard. He painted. Nah, he painted a neck. He's a try hard. No, but I hadn't seen it like prior to that episode, so I think you guys are onto a good gimmick there. And I think that you know, you might have started. So I guarantee you, there's a lot more people tonight at that AEW Dynamite probably wearing them, and I think that'll continue. It's like the fucking purple hat, right? It'll fucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love that hat.
yeah. Wow, good friend of mine, Brochacho, got me this hat.
See?
Yeah.
The
I like-
brochachos are for.
Yeah, I like this hat. You know, but it'll be something like that for a couple weeks until it wears out its welcome, and you know, as all gimmicks do, they move on. But no, I thought that's hilarious. I'm glad that you guys, I'm glad that you, Jay, specifically, like Colt says, like he looks like scarily like Roddy Strong. Like,
Yeah, it's the not shaving and the glasses.
yeah.
And I got a shout out to our buddy Ryan. He was the one who came up with the gimmick. As I think I was telling you guys before the show, we were gonna all do the turtlenecks with the sleeves.
Oh, well,
turtlenecks,
that's good
but-
too. That's good too.
Yeah, but Ryan texted me like 2 weeks before the show with a picture of him in the turtleneck, and I was like, or in the neck brace, and I was like, oh, dude, that's what we just gotta do it. We just got to.
Yeah.
And so it was fun, and it didn't hurt too much. You know, I had legitimately hurt my neck that day, so it was actually kind of good
helpful
to have it anyway. So.
What is it?
Yeah,
what is the neck?
I will say, you text me and you were like, I hope you didn't buy that turtleneck yet. Like, sent me the picture of Ryan. I was like, shit. But I will say, maybe it's because your neck was hurt. But after like 3 hours in that thing, like when I took it off, I was like, oh, my neck's kind of like I think because I was like holding it, and, like turning like this. I was like,
you're trying to drink a beer and you've got to do this whole thing.
Exactly.
Like, what does a neck brace cost these days?
$10.
$10. All right. Well, there you go. For Halloween,
Glasses too. $10.
Yep.
Yeah. For Halloween, for $20, you can have a whole costume pretty much. You just gotta
get
neck
drunk
brace.
and yell at them.
Yeah, that's all you
Yeah,
gotta
we'll
do.
see how many kids in my neighborhood are like, oh, neck health awareness. Nice.
Yeah.
I think one of the only things we haven't talked a lot about on this or for Wrestle Dream was like the opening match, which was the handicap match, MJF versus the Righteous. And good God, I didn't expect the Righteous to like be over, but I didn't expect the crowd to just be like,
It was, if I remember correctly, they got a fairly quiet reception in Denver.
Did they?
Too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are they trying to make something that isn't there? Like, are they trying to make a thing out of a thing that's not a thing?
They need more time to cook it before it's put up because they're in the main event status right now with the MJF stuff. So they needed way more time to cook these guys.
Oh, they're not going to be in that. They're not going to be on that status for a long time. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, and I almost feel this is detrimental to them, you know, being over at any point because, you know, now they're the guys who got beat by MJ by one person. And it's like, where do you go from there as a tag team? Like, especially if you just came into AEW, like you got to start at absolute bottom again. So, you know, what I see them doing with that faction is maybe throwing a few more people into it, maybe making them more, you know, more of a contender. But then we're just doing the Wyatt Family 2.0, which it's already had those comparisons. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm not that into them, and yeah, I'm just not biting yet.
I kind of like. Here's the thing. I like the idea of it. I like it is a bit too Wyatt Family, early Wyatt Family, you know, and and it's like cool, like it's a cool theme song, but it's literally like 2 chords over and over again, and like I wish it I wish it like did a little bit more like in the theme song. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like, all right. I'm like, if you hear it for more than 30 seconds, you're like, oh, this just does the same thing over and over. So that kind of is boring. I think I like the fat big dude. Is that one's Dutch, right?
Dutch, yeah.
Dutch. I think I like him more than I like Vincent.
Yeah.
I think that it might be the dread thing because of Bray that makes me feel like, oh, that's biting too hard. Like, obviously we got the cult thing, like it's too many of the little factors in there. I like the more righteous gemstone sort of like idea, look, and everything that the Dutch has.
Dutch has it.
Yeah.
And he does, like, at the beginning, which I had never noticed until they came out in Denver for that boring ass entrance. Because I agree with you, it is like 2 chords.
Mhm.
But at the beginning of it, he like preaches something, and then
Yeah.
it does the boom. And I never really picked up on that on TV. I guess I haven't, seen them a ton, but I noticed that, and then I watched him more and saw some of those kind of righteous gemstones expressions.
That's what it
I think
needs to be. It needs to be more that like charlatans rather than a cult.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
I would be for that.
That's what it
I
kind
think
of
that
should
could
be.
cool.
Like, I think that they.
I hope they lean into it, because that guy's character is there. Vincent, just seems next to him a little generic. Like,
He's Elias and Bray mixed.
Because the connection, I think, is there with a lot of like ticks in like Wyatt family type, kind of like you can catch some similarities, and like the dreads do make you think of Bray. I mean, Vincent does pull off the dreads though. He's thick as fuck in real person. I was like, Jesus, those are like thick ass dreads.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so but yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to see Dutch. I don't know, be like righteous gemstone thing. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way I would go with it. Just real quick, right now, we've got Sky Blue versus Tony Storm on Dynamite, and Tony.
Hey, just really quick, could I just do a quick
No,
thing on
I
the
just needed to say that Tony Storm's ass looks fantastic. You can say whatever like you want, but yeah.
So does Sky Blues.
Yeah, but I I'm gonna vote Tony right now.
Tony's looks better. Yeah.
I'm gonna vote Tony.
No comment. Hey, just really quickly, just going back to the righteous really quick. I just had an epiphany that those 2 dudes are the Insane Clown Posse without makeup. Are we sure that they're not? Because
they were into wrestling. Oh my god.
That's pretty funny, actually. That's pretty funny.
Give them some hatchets. Let them start running around.
They both. There's the fat guy and the. I gotta admit, in the late '90s, I was a juggalo.
Was it Slim something? Slim, and
it was a dark time in my life.
Don't pretend that you don't know. Don't pretend that you don't know.
They don't sell Fago or
Fago.
They don't sell it in Fago in Colorado. So
Fago.
Well, they sell it as Shasta out here. That's what we have.
I've actually listened to a couple of the albums, and I will honestly say some of it isn't as bad as I expect it to be. And if you listen to the Ohno radio show, I have long, even though I don't necessarily think I'm not a juggalo myself, I have long endorsed juggalos in general because I think they get a bad rap. I think that
I agree.
They actually do get a bad rap. They were classified as a gang by the government for a while, like a top, like a big like gang, like and they actually get a bad rap because the whole like concept. I mean, it took me years to understand this, but the whole concept of juggalo really is like kind of like do what you want, free will, as long as you're cool to people. And hey, like say what you want about the juggalos, they're trashy, horrible kind of people. Like but at least they're not like stomping on your rights. And then so that's why I'll always support a juggalo. Like, what do they do?
They're not like the Proud Boys. Or anything,
what is it? Hootie hoo? Is that the thing? Hootie hoo? In there?
I have no idea.
Hootie hoo? That's
Hootie hoo.
Outcast.
Oh, they say a thing. They got a thing. Like they got to call I thought it was Hootie Who.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know.
You're not.
I do know there was a year or two ago on the ONW radio show when you were like, I can kind of listen to some tracks, guys, and you ended up like playing some.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, you were into it.
I mean, it's not great, but it's like,
I'm not judging.
But I'm not
gone that far enough down that rabbit hole to have an opinion on it.
Well,
so
I mean, former Juggalo Jay, he supports them, so here we go. Oh no,
you're Triple J Jansen,
dude,
Triple J. You're Triple J.
As soon as I discovered the Wu-Tang Clan, I was gone from them. So I was like, this is hip hop. So
I noticed though, you because we all keep sort of notes like throughout the week. We post what we like want to talk about, and one of the interesting things that you mentioned about Wrestle Dream with the Don Callis family was that like Last Supper painting, which was an awesome painting. First off, like that thing was just all of these Don Callis paintings have been phenomenal. Whoever's doing those and putting those together, you think they're using like AI and shit? Like I bet they are. Like they're probably doing something like that. Like I don't know, or like graphic designers.
They had an artist who did it.
Did they?
Yeah, I think she's on Instagram or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jay made a really good point that like on that painting, all we've got are what do we got? We got Sammy Guevara
as Judas.
As Judas.
That's so good.
Which is so good. Will Ospreay is, I don't know the biblical figures, but Will Ospreay's in there.
Saint
one of them's. We got Takeshita. He's the one. He's the one right there too. I don't know his name. One of them's. Is that it? Is that it? It's the three of them in Callis, right? But so that there's the other. Ooh, how many are at that table?
Well, the original painting, I think there's 11.
Well, it's like the 12 like disciples, isn't it, or something shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So I
Jesus' crew, so to speak.
But in like the Don Callis one, I feel like it's chopped off so that there's only like maybe 6 people in it.
Whoa.
So 3 are revealed.
Yeah, so 12 apostles. So I doubt they do 12 people in Callis's.
But in Callis's painting, it's like a zoomed in version where it like cuts the ends off, right? So you don't have all those extra apostles. So you got like 6 of them, and I think that there's 3 or 4 faces that are blurred, as if to almost,
there's 7 that are blurred.
7 that are blurred on Don Callis. So that would be a huge fucking faction if that, like, if he made that. But
yeah,
do those
faces?
I
mean,
Yeah, but do those faces possibly of people that could eventually join the Don Callis family, and like how do you even go about that? Like where do you start with that? I'm so curious. Like where you guys, like if you were to pick a name right now and pop them in the Don Callis family, who would you go with? I think because of like there have been talks about it already, Daniel Garcia gets in there.
I think I'd put Joe in there, maybe.
Samoa Joe?
Yeah.
No way. You can't have Samoa Joe with Don. No.
Why not?
No. No. Samoa Joe's on his own. He ain't
okay.
fucking.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I can respect
that. He ain't fucking around with that. So if it's not Garcia, I'm gonna pull up the AEW roster. I bet you I can find someone.
By the way, there's a picture floating around of when Callis and Takeshita had their picture taken for the promo in Japan. It's Kenny Omega taking the picture. So
my god, that is
Kenny Omega is a double agent.
Yeah, he'll be on the painting.
I think he actually filmed some of the bit, is what I heard, which sort of makes sense. Like, we're in Japan, let's do it.
Jungle Boy. What about Jungle Boy?
Yeah,
I don't mind that. I don't mind that
either.
Yeah, that kind of works. that does kind of work. I would dig.
That totally works.
Yep, I dig Jungle Boy. That's a good shout. Real good shout. All right, we said so. Daniel Garcia, Jungle Boy. We don't have to do all of them, but just like at least each kind of find one. Like, oh man,
Danhausen.
yeah. Oh God, they're gonna put Jake Hager over there, aren't they? They're gonna.
Oh
they're
my
gonna,
God, they are.
Yeah, they really might.
They really might do that. It feels like.
Which honestly, man, I wouldn't
Ooh.
mind. Like, I don't hate Jake Hager. Like another person that AEW made interesting that came.
Oh, he's
over
way
from
more.
WWE
Oh, way
was
more
like,
interesting than he
jeez.
was. I got a random. I actually got two. I got two that I think would fit with this. I think the least the more predictable rather, Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian, I can see kind of fitting in there with like because he's a really good mouthpiece as well, and him and like Don can go. You know, they can go kind of not toe to toe, but they can like accentuate each other. And then even another good mouthpiece, but a guy that's not doing anything. Fucking, if Don Callis had Keith Lee behind him.
Ooh, yeah.
Like I know it's so weird, but
indubitably.
But I can kind of see it working. I can kind of see it working. Like Don Callis has his brick wall that no one can get behind too. Like he can say whatever he wants because he's got Keith Lee standing right in front of him at all times.
And that was actually WWE's original plan for Keith Lee and Adam Cole.
Right.
Was Adam Cole was going to be the chicken shit heel with Keith Lee as the wall. And Keith Lee had actually, I believe he had talked about that and said he was really upset he didn't get the opportunity to play a heel. So I think it's something he's been wanting to do. So I could totally see that.
Yeah,
that
it's not a
wouldn't be
bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Do you have any more guys? Do you want to throw one out?
I thought Parker Bordeaux was let go by AEW.
Yeah, it's probably one of those that he just is still under contract technically.
He's on their official the AEW website roster.
Oh, maybe he's come back, bro. Maybe he's part of the Don Callis family. Parker Boudreaux, he's there.
Yeah. I don't know who else.
Pretty
really
Peter
put in
Avalon. Let's put Pretty Peter in there. That's
There you go.
Oh man, I could do this all day. Stupid.
I wouldn't mind Nyla Jax only because Nyla Jax's Twitter game is really strong. So, you know.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't hate that actually. I think that could actually sort of work. Like, because they could.
Josh Woods.
They could have fun with that. See, I'm waiting to see what they really want to do with Josh Woods because I think I mentioned this a while back. It must have been that like first I think it was the first Ring of Honor pay-per-view or something since AEW had bought the company or since Tony had bought the company. And I had just seen Josh Woods at Dark. Like I'd seen him wrestle like almost like the week before or something. And that pay-per-view was on. And I remember him putting on a really good performance. It might have even been with Samoa Joe or something, like which I forget who it was, but it was a fairly like highly named opponent. And I don't know what it was. I'm just like, that there's like potential there. So I'm hopeful for Josh Woods. I kind of like I want to see him get more opportunities. I want to see what they're gonna let him do. Or like he
fought Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, that was one of the matches. And he did a Wheeler Yuta match. Oh, but you're right. He fought Joe. Yeah.
That was the one I'm thinking of. It was probably Joe. Yeah. But yeah, like good on that dude. I hope to see him more. Like he's just got that like, but he also has no character. So it's like, it's like we got to kind of like figure that part out. Like, I don't know. He's got Jungle Boy, written all over him, except he doesn't even have the Jungle Boy thing. He's just
right.
Like, yeah. What do you do with Jungle Boy then when he comes back? If it's not Don Callis' family, which is a great shout, but what the hell do you do with Jungle Boy if it's not Don Callis' family? Does he come back? Does he get booed? Does he get cheered? I think you're gonna get mixed reactions, right?
Yeah,
I think you're gonna get mixed. So do you?
He's got to continue his heel run anyways. Because,
I feel like he.
I mean, he
yeah.
went out and bought that leather jacket just for that. So we don't want it to have a short run. Actually I've started to enjoy him a bit as a heel. So I enjoyed his last match at what was the last time he was in before the suspension? All In, was it, or All Out? I'd enjoyed that match he had, and so I hope he's not done, but I'd like to see him be a heel.
No, absolutely. Guys, it's about that time. Unless you have any more burning AEW talk, I think we should probably take a little bit of a break. But we hit most of the stuff except for the most important one. Should I hit the air horn? What do you do with Nick Wayne's mom now?
Yeah.
What do you do with Nick Wayne's mom?
I was saying in chat, they should just keep her. That's all they should refer to. It's just Nick Wayne's
I
mom.
love it.
All the time.
Never.
Like,
Her
Nick
name's
Wayne's
not
mom.
Tabitha or whatever it is.
I would
No.
turn her heel and put her with Christian. I really would.
It would be so good. It'd be so good. Oh, he's like cucking this kid. Like, is that what it's like? Oh, what the hell's going on here?
Well, yeah, he does that and then starts pretending like he doesn't know who she is in front of him. Like,
Jeez, it's horrible. It's horrible. Scotty says Trent. What do you want him in the Don Callis family? You can't do that. I don't know. Why are you saying Trent? Trent?
Yeah, Trent.
part of best friends.
Trent?
Yeah, I don't see him breaking up best friends right
I
now.
ain't doing
But
that.
you know,
Nah, you can't
but
do
you never
Trent.
know.
Can't do Trent. But anyway, we'll take
Bandito. Put Bandito in.
Oh well, actually,
You
where
can
is
put Trent's mom
Bandito?
in there with, so you have Sue's mom and never mind. We're talking about Don Callis' family.
Yeah.
You know,
Lance Archer.
You know, like in that.
Oh, dude, yeah. Where the hell is Lance Archer? That would be a good one.
He's
yeah.
hanging out with
Yeah.
Jake the Snake, just chilling, like they're smoking crack, probably. Like who knows? Like,
Yeah, he really needs to be
talking
back.
about the Lord and
Really.
smoking crack. You know?
Yeah, in the Motel 6
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
Oh,
It's probably in Georgia. Like just guessing. I mean, it's Alabama or Georgia or Florida. It's one of the three. They're there. Maybe Texas.
Yeah.
Maybe he's at Lance Archer's house. They're going over there. Yeah, no. I actually like Lance Hoyt Archer a lot, dude. I was there that night. He like almost died, like when he almost broke his fucking neck in Orlando at the Revolut. I think whatever it was when I saw him here. I think it was just Dynamite. I almost saw him. Yeah, I almost saw him die, and then I saw him with Duncan a couple times at Dark as well, and we were thoroughly impressed by him. Like he's one of those guys that, like, as you get more out of him like up close, like because he's that big. Like it's just like, oh
Yeah.
shit, you're that big. Like yeah, like he looks big on TV, but it almost does him an injustice if that makes any sense. Like it's kind of weird. Like imagine that but bigger. And like we were actually really impressed with his work too. Like the guy can fucking go. Like he doesn't always. It depends, I think, on the style of match he's in. Because he can do like weird ass like lucha shit like out of nowhere for a huge man. Like he can pull off some weird ass stuff, and then he does the Taker walk rope thing, and like he's got. I always liked him, but I digress. Let's get to break. When we come back, we do want to talk, of course, about a little bit that's going on in the world of WWE. We will touch on NXT, which I've actually seen probably more of than WWE in the last couple of days. We will also try and figure out what's going on with this Fastlane card, and we will put together our predictions for it. Let me throw on this guy right here. It's not the end of the show music, but we'll use it for right now. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Oh, and we wanted to mention too, guys, you guys had a great idea. It's like, oh, we want more fan engagement with the audience and everything. Well, we do have like a phone line. So when you call that phone line, you're able to basically leave a voicemail. Remember the old days where you leave a voicemail on somebody's phone? No one does that anymore, do they? Well, you can hear, right? And we'll play them on the show. That's the great thing, is it'll go into onto my computer, and I can download it and I can play it on the show. So if you do want to leave a voicemail, we encourage you to do so. We want to hear about your fantasy, your crazy fantasy booking ideas, but we want your promos, right? We want to hear the best promos that our audience has to offer. And, if they're good enough, or actually even if they're really, really bad, I want to hear those ones too. I want to hear all the good ones. We're going to play them. Like, basically, we're going to play them. So
yeah,
if
we want to hear your mic skills.
Yeah. We want to hear your promo skills. So call in at 407 906 6466. And again, that's 407 906 6466. Leave us a voicemail, and you can be a part of the show. We thank you, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Boys, give it a little bit of a woo! Christian right away. Fuck you. welcome back. Sorry, I'm interrupting a conversation. I just hop into the show. My bad. How rude of me.
Yeah.
We're talking about tattoos.
Waiting on you, brochacho.
Actually, I fucked up because I wasn't hitting record, so we're gonna have to do that. Hey, brochacho, how you doing? Sorry for keeping you waiting there.
I'd wait all day for you, bro, but I missed you.
Oh, I missed you too. Did you guys have a good break?
Did have a good break.
I did.
Jay hasn't watched it, but I watched the end of Dynamite.
I was just seeing some Edge and Christian things going on there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think I mean fuck, I guess I probably should spoil it right after it happened. Like, we can talk about it a little bit, but all I'm going to say is, without giving any spoilers, I thought Edge looked and sounded really good. And I thought I was actually like thoroughly impressed by the whole thing and the story development with it. So I'll leave it at that.
I was going to tell you when we were going to break, I was going to say, don't look at your TV, because everything that you said you didn't want to happen in the first half of the show with this was happening.
But they actually made it. But they actually, it kind of was. But you know what? They made it work. So
they did.
Seeing you excited about it now, like I'm like, oh, dude, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, because
at the beginning of the show, you were not looking forward to Edge.
Well, the beginning, that's it, man. Like, I didn't see the beginning of like his promo. Some of that could have been shit. I'm sure he did probably say it's great to be here and all that crap.
He
right?
did.
Like,
I didn't listen, but I was.
And I'm assuming that's the bit I missed. But the bit later with Christian, I saw all that, and it was pretty phenomenal. And he actually felt like a human being again. He felt like someone with some charisma. I felt it again. And it was the thing that I was worried about. That is, okay, you just showed me it's there. Now I'm in. Like, all right, now, like, I'm happy to report that, halfway through this episode, some of the questions that I had have sort of been answered. Like, now I have the willingness to give it a shot and not be like, Edge.
I was, and when we went to break, I saw him call him out, and the first thing that happened, I went, God damn it, please do not rush to Edge and Christian versus the Hardys. Like, I just don't need
they're
that
gonna
to be a big thing right away.
They're gonna. I mean,
I know, but not right away. Like, let that burn for a year.
Well, it's gonna be the Young Bucks versus the Hardys versus Edge and Christian, because that's what they're gonna do, and they're gonna do a TLC, and they're gonna do the three of them because that's what the Young Bucks want to do.
Can we get a 4-way Adam match between like Adam Page, Adam Cole, Adam Copeland, and
I don't think
which Adam am I missing?
Okay,
there's 4 of them.
No,
there's there are only 3.
Are there? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's probably one more. I'm sure we're missing.
I'm looking at that. Well, I'm looking at the active roster.
Adams.
Put it all right, because he begins with A. Just put in Action Andretti. There we go. We're good. Like,
there we go.
Round it out. I'm sure there's. Well, it was the Pages, right? It was the Pages cage. You can do Page versus Cage versus
versus Page.
I mean, you can go a long time with that one. But yeah, let's shift gears a little bit, of course, over to WWE. We haven't talked anything about that, and I was very interested in just kind of like waking up today. Like, I'm not an NXT viewer. Matthew, you said you actually watched the latest pay-per-view, and I didn't like really pay any attention to it. So all like the stuff, I didn't like seek it out, so I was unaware, because a lot of times, like, on Reddit, like, I'll hop on Reddit, but they keep things like spoiler free for like usually 24 hours on most of those things, and then it pops up. So I was like, it's like a day behind, and like I was like, oh, holy shit. When I kind of woke up, I was like, to not paying attention to it, not seeking it out. I was like, wow, a lot of shit happened on that. Like, what was it? Was it Stand and Deliver? What was
No
this
Mercy.
One? No Mercy. Goddamn.
I have not watched fucking NXT show I'm not like adamantly against it either, so I'm not like one of these like I like all wrestling and I like, but it's just not one that I consistently watch, and I have not watched NXT programming in a while. But I was you mentioned something, Jay. You were gonna come over and you asked if I was gonna watch it upstairs, like watch Wrestle Dream up on my patio with the projector. So I actually was like, because I was trying to time when it was like the sun was down enough and it looked good, right?
Yeah.
And so I put it up the Saturday night to test it, and so I just watched it up there. And so like I turned it on early, and I was like, I guess I'm watching this, and like it just kept my attention because like the last part of the show, there were some banger matches, and like that Dragunov Carmelo Hayes match was a fucking
that's
banger.
What I've heard.
Like, really good.
That's what I've heard. I definitely need to go back and watch. And I've been a Dragunov fan like for a while. Like even though I don't catch everything, because again I don't watch all of NXT. I'll go back. Like it was all that Gunther series, especially NXT UK. Like him and Gunther have that storied history that really Walter at the time, of course. That was just so good, and like it's one of those things. Like I saw that like that Dijak Djokovic match, like that one he had with him, not too long ago, where I mean he was just like, it was like blood out of the eyes type thing, like and like Dragunov just has this like intensity that's kind of unmatched and makes you believe, even though he might be a smaller guy, he can take out a guy double his size. Like there's something about him. And so I was so happy to see him, of course, win that NXT title. Like that's I haven't seen the match, but of course I know he's the champion. And that's a really like, it's kind of a bold move by NXT if I'm being honest, if you're going to keep Braun and Carmelo on the main roster down in NXT. Just on the NXT roster. Like it feels like somebody's getting pulled up soon, right? Like, but we've said that for so effing long that it's kind of like, at this point, I think they're fast tracking Dragunov to get to the main roster to be up there with Gunther. Like if I think that they're doing that before Gunther's main event level. I think there's some truth to that. And I think he will, like, if you present him as like, and he does nothing but go straight to Gunther, like when he gets up to the main roster, I think he can do it well. Unless, of course, they're just going to do the obvious where they put, the IC title switch goes on to, Shorty G. But Chad sort of deserves it, but I can also see like Dragunov being involved in that thing. I think Trick is ready. I think Trick and Dragunov are more ready than Braun Breaker, is my personal opinion. And I
bet you Trick's the first to go out of those three.
Well, I don't know. I go like those are the top three on the men's side for sure. But now they've got this thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they intimating that Braun Breaker is a Paul Heyman guy now? Like there's some thing there? Have we not seen?
Like I said, I don't watch. I don't watch.
All right,
it.
I was hoping you guys maybe we need to do some more research before I talk out of my ass on this. But Paul Heyman is going to be on next week's NXT. He's one of the many names that are going to be on next week's NXT. Of course, next week's NXT airs at its regular time slot, but it's going one-on-one with AEW Dynamite because Dynamite has had to change days because of a baseball playoff conflict or something like that. I think that's what it is. So it's moving over to the Tuesday night at the same time. So
Title Tuesday.
So we've got Title Tuesday versus not only Paul Heyman, John Cena, Asuka. I mean, that's still a big deal. Like, actually, you could argue for the NXT audience, Asuka might be even as big of a deal as going back to NXT as John Cena. I mean, no, it isn't, but, I probably did announce those in the wrong order. Then you've got the one and only Cody Rhodes making an announcement on next week's NXT. This is all while we've been doing this experiment with Becky Lynch most recently going down there winning that title. We've got, like, we had the Baron Corbin thing, right? Like, we've had Mustafa Ali before he got fired, who was supposed to win the North American title. Like this is obviously a thing that is happening within NXT, and do you think this works? Do you think this, like, it's a short burst, right? But it's still, that thing is going to get numbers. And I honestly think this is going to outdraw Dynamite next week. I do. I think this is going to outdraw, because they're not on the regular day of a Wednesday. That's already a hindrance. They're going head to head, with the rival. Like, I think WWE actually, with the amount they've stacked these appearances, is going to slaughter in the ratings AEW.
Yeah,
and is that
AEW have Edge versus Luchasaurus, Danielson versus Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anything else.
Those two are both of those, you could argue, are pay-per-view quality matches.
They're gonna, yeah, exactly.
Like,
But
those are
when
like
you're talking about
right.
Cody Rhodes. Like, it's just, I think I could be completely wrong, but I think what happened is maybe that, because remember, like, this was happening for a while, like, leading up to the merger, and Nick Khan had said very clearly, like, yes, I'm doing this to, like, add more revenue value, like, and make us, like, more valuable by putting things down there. It raises more eyes. You can sell, those type. And so I wonder if now that the merger has completed, they're like, those revenues, we could probably get more out of that, like, and be like, you just need to do this more. You proved that it was like something worth doing. Now we're just going to do it. Like, say, like, you just, need to have a little bit more crossover, bring in more revenue. I wonder if that's part of it, right?
I definitely think it feels like a strategic shift. Like, they were doing it pre-Endeavor, but it's stuff that, like, Endeavor is going to only increase. Like that.
Yeah,
that
I don't think it'll always be like a John Cena, like,
no.
like Cody Rhodes level, but I think there will always be, like, someone coming down, and, like, even some of the stuff they did, like that match with Dominic Mysterio was good, and I guess he won it back last night, but the Becky Lynch match was good. It was, and I was more prone to watch it because I was like, oh, I want to see the Dominic match, but then the rest of a lot of the other matches,
Shawn Michaels just wants Dave Meltzer to give him Booker of the Year, and so he's just he's just doing what he can. And honestly, the show it's come on leaps and bounds from when it was like, oh my god, we've got Tony D, and, like, remember when the
2.0,
like the original 2.0 relaunch was obviously a bit embarrassing, but to see how far it's come since then to where they're at right now is actually equally as impressive. Like, it's not like the finest in-ring quality stuff you're ever gonna see, but they're actually developing characters and storylines, and it might be like NXT Black and Gold is never gonna be that again, right? Because that's essentially what the main roster is, or part of the main roster.
Booked a Black and Gold main event on Raw this week. Gunther versus Ciampa.
Yeah, that's a Black and Gold main event. 100%. So like it had to kind of evolve, and it's maybe not for me, but you know what it is? It's the age old. You know how, like, the NFL just did this thing where they did, like, the Toy Story. So there's, like, an overlay. There's a channel you go on, like, Disney Channel or whatever, or like Disney Plus.
It was a Jacksonville game, and
so you can watch a football game while it's like all the characters look like they're Andy's toys, and they're playing on Andy's mom's rug or something, like, right? There's the field, and, like, but it's all the, have you heard about this, Matthew? You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen
okay, yeah.
Did they come out with a new Toy Story movie or something?
I don't know. No,
it's just
to suck the kids in. It's to suck the kids in and get them into the football system, right?
We're gonna do a Minions one,
but in a weird way, NXT 2.0 is exactly what that is. Or now it's not, and I know they dropped the 2.0, but NXT is kind of that. Like it has this
Yeah.
childish quality to it that as a kid, especially too, if you like start going to those shows as a kid, you grow up with that, but then like you instantly get like how WWE does storytelling, right? So you grow with the product, and it's kind of just like it's indoctrination. I mean, it's
Disney approach. You're
corporate
right. That makes sense. I
corporate indoctrination. I do think
they're also going to keep the kids on Disney with the football one. Now you're buying into the largest corporation ever, the NFL, for life at a very young age.
Yeah, exactly.
So on top of all that stuff with NXT clearly trying to run as strong of a show as they can run with the biggest stars to get a pop rating to beat AEW. You know what the funniest fact of all of this is? It's Tony Khan's birthday that day.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, wow.
Dude, they should have Stone Cold show up.
That is the ultimate fuck you. Like you took Edge.
You know, I gotta tell you, my theory is that they're partly trying to pump up the NXT numbers because as far as I know, NXT and Raw have not found network homes yet. So
this is exactly it. They gotta be able to
boost
the
USA
NXT
bought
ratings
SmackDown back
to
from
be
Fox,
able to sell it.
Paid a good price for it too. So, we don't know what's going to happen to Raw or NXT. So I could see this as being a way of saying, like, look, NXT can pull some good numbers here. And you know what? I would not be surprised if Cody Rhodes is out there to be like, hey, I'm out here to bring someone new into the NXT women's division. And here comes Jade Cargill, the woman who's going to take the title off of Becky Lynch.
Yep.
Like
that would be a very quality way to, I mean, she trained at the Nightmare Factory. They've like been linked in articles every time that she talks about coming to, WWE. She says, Cody's all over that. So that's probably why he's there. That I didn't even think of that. That's a really smart idea. I thought it was going to be like the Dusty Cup, something like that. Like they were going to do something where, they introduced the Dusty Cup again, which is fine. But I prefer the Jade thing. Like that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot, and it gives her. I thought they might do. I was, and I kind of missed these. I missed the old NXTs where you had like Drew McIntyre in the crowd. Oh, he's there. He's watching. That means he's signed. I thought they were probably going to do something like that with Jade, but at like Raw, like or SmackDown or whatever. Like I thought on the main roster they could do something like that, which I think could work really well. But I kind of. In a weird way, I do love if she's going to be in NXT for a little bit, having Cody bring her in is the way that like it softens the blow that she's going to NXT a little bit, but it also sort of like keeps the bridge open nicely to the main roster that he can literally even do the same thing a few months down the line and be like, here she is, like
exactly.
I know she's only got 2 years experience in the ring. I still think you'd put her straight on the main roster. I don't think there's any NXT in her, but that's just me.
I think that's what they're going to do.
I want them to.
Rumor has it, and they said that she's slated to hopefully within the month make an appearance.
I feel like she's maybe a little sloppy, but she's never been terribly unsafe. And it's okay, and that's fine. And that's fine.
Squash the person we all, or me, and so I'll speak for everyone, dislike Nia Jax.
Right.
For her sloppiness in the ring. Let her come in, squash her, because she's out here trying to run around, get involved in everything. It's very annoying. And so
it would make the fans very happy if like Nia's on this run and then you just have basically she just gets squashed by.
And what a better way!
But they're not. But they're not. Unfortunately, they're not doing that. They're building Nia, aren't they? Like they're trying to build Nia. Unfortunately,
I still don't understand it with why they brought her back and
The Rock.
I really thought they were building Piper Niven to be kind of that big woman.
It had to be Dwayne.
Strongly prefer Piper Niven, by the way, to Nia Jax, and I think most people do.
Oh, way better, way safer. Way more charisma. Like she can talk too.
Yeah, she can
compared
talk,
to
and
Nia?
she knows the game better than Nia Jax. The only reason I was saying Jade would be interesting in NXT is because she's the only person I could see taking the title off of Becky. And
It's a
and
really good.
that main eventer,
Okay, that's pretty cool.
without
And
main eventing her, or without main roster.
And I like your idea of like her being on the same show as all these other people. If you're gonna go that route, like with that NXT champ, right? Like you could also bring her up to like Raws or SmackDowns as needed because they've been doing that, right? So you could
That's
maybe
true,
give her a
yeah.
little bit of both and like still have her show up with Becky and like on Raw or something like that. Like you could do something like that, I think. But I think with this being a really big NXT with all of this on it, and like I think it's a good idea, and it would, knowing a lot of eyes are already going to be on it, that's a great way to introduce her to a ton of eyes too.
Do you
Yeah.
because of her previous, time in AEW? Do you have her do another streak, a real Goldberg streak, and with the belt in
Then she beats Bill
NXT?
Goldberg.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
Nice.
clearly, yeah. At least Gil. Like let's at least throw
Yeah.
Gil at her, like just for
Yeah.
fun. Then Gil gets in there for the fans, for the boys.
I'm a Jade Mark, so I wouldn't mind seeing a belt collector Jade, but I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. So.
I don't know if we're there yet, but we can get there. I can see them playing on the old gimmick though, that she comes and does a run. Like I can see them playing on that. One thing that I'm very surprised that they are actually messing with is one Brian Pillman Jr. He's had some kind of hilarious vignettes and appearances so far. And one thing I love, though, is really extremely biased literature or media sometimes. And the USA Network put out their own sort of story, right, on on Brian Pillman.
They did some
Jr.
investigative
Oh
journalism.
yeah.
Themselves.
Like some really really in-depth journalism. And it says that the headline here: Brian Pillman Jr. appears in WWE's NXT. Here's why fans should be excited. And just so the rumors are true. Brian Pillman Jr. is the latest
All I've
pro
been
wrestling,
talking about and hearing from people.
the
for months.
latest pro wrestling prodigy to make the jump to WWE. Following in the footsteps of megastar in the making Jade Cargill, is Pillman Jr., who eagle-eyed members of the WWE Universe noticed making a blink and you missed it appearance during NXT No Mercy September 30th. It's another savvy signing by WWE as they pluck yet another aspiring superstar away from the competition and welcome another world-class athlete to the locker room. Here's why the WWE Universe should be excited for the eventual in-ring debut of Brian Pillman Jr. I love
I mean, it's such corporate speak. It's such corporate speak.
But they
know?
plucked him
This is our
away.
new
No.
product. Check
Tony-
out our shiny new thing.
Tony Khan decided that you weren't worth re-signing your contract, and isn't that the truth with Brian Pillman Jr.? He was like,
But exactly. But more power to him. And
but I just love that they
let's see what he does.
the WWE.
I like that they had the tiger shirt, and I know that gives it away, like the mystery of who is this guy. But that is such a ridiculously ugly shirt, especially. In
I want it though. I do kind of like the
it's
shirt.
great.
I just like they plucked him away. That's the thing. They plucked him
They
away.
did.
Yeah,
Connie was like, "You took him."
They've been chipping away at him for a while.
Yeah.
Everyone was screaming about that on the message boards.
To put it simply, the youngest Pillman is only 30 years old, has WWE superstar DNA running through his veins, whereas many WWE superstars have had children who attempted to follow their footsteps, i.e. Ric Flair. Ric Flair's son David stands out as the most obvious example. None have the physical tools Brian Pillman Jr. has, possessing arguably even a more athletic ability than his father. He has all the tools necessary to become the next big thing in WWE.
I think an AI wrote this.
Yeah,
I think so.
This is the company that employs like 12 of the Rock's cousins. Come on.
Yeah, and why did they bring up why did they say Charlotte Flair?
The significance.
Yeah. Oh, David.
They could have mentioned that. Yeah,
David. In peace.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
David
Like,
definitely
I
stands
think some
out.
of these sites, they're using AI.
Oh,
It's
this
just,
must
I've
be
thought
AI.
for a long time. I've been saying it for years. I don't think anyone works at BuzzFeed. I think all of that is just AI.
It runs and people just collect the check.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
And
probably
it has
right.
been for fucking years. It was just like data mine from Reddit and just be like, here, we posted the top 20 things that this found
Here
on
we
Reddit
go.
based on the query and the algorithm that it came up with.
The significance of WWE signing him is not lost on the wrestling world. Although Pillman showed off his rare talent during his time in other promotions, wrestling fans and critics alike always felt that he would be better suited in a WWE ring. Polishing his skills in the performance center and getting in the ring against the up-and-coming talent in NXT for the foreseeable future will do wonders for his career, eventually setting the stage for a debut on the main roster. Of course, Brian Pillman Jr.'s name is likely one of the reasons WWE took an interest in signing him in the first place. His father tragically died in 1997, but left behind one of the most lasting legacies in wrestling history. End.
Who wrote this? Who's the author? Who's
I
I like the voice. That I want to put a name to the voice.
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
Maybe it's. Well, I don't know.
Oh wait, no, this is actually from Owen's personal journal.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say we should call this person on the air as the owner and be like, hey, how long did it take you to write that?
I don't think there's an author even listed. It just literally says, oh no, here we go. Chris Phelan. Chris Phelan. P-H-E-L-A-N. Phelan.
Chris Phelan. I like that better than Phelan.
Well,
I just
USA Network writer right there. USA
the
Insider.
other thing too is saying, like, once again, not trying to throw shade at Pillman, but saying someone's better suited for a WWE ring is not always a compliment.
No.
I mean, it's usually what you say about people who are really good on the sports entertainment side, but absolute shit on the wrestling side.
Absolutely.
And again, not saying anything either way about Brian Pillman, but I have never said, yeah, saying someone's better suited for a WWE ring is such a weird thing to put as like a compliment in an article. Like, it's just like, okay, like.
Also, wasn't he there before?
Yeah, and
and they didn't like him, and he went to, and it was right before the pandemic, and then Tony Khan was like, okay, you can have a job.
No mention of welcome back.
Yeah.
Fresh new signing. Watching this guy for years.
This guy's the shit. You watch. He's got a cool mullet, tiger shirt. He's gonna
tiger.
I can't wait for all these fans that read this article. There's one guy out there that's like, you know what? That's a really dumb guy, right? And he's
like,
a casual
someone fucking speaking the truth.
And he's like, you know what, Brian? I love. Yeah, but he's never seen him. He's actually never seen him. He's like, I heard this indie guy, right? Like, it's like, but it's Brian Pillman's son, right? Like, it's crazy. Like, I bet you he's gonna be so good, and he's gonna be so disappointed. Like, he's just gonna be so disappointed at his like mediocre character and in-ring work. He sucks. Brian Pillman Jr., you better get better in the WWE system.
I like the other version of that where this person loves the fuck out of Brian once they see, and it's like beyond their wildest imagination, and they just become like the biggest like Brian. They try and like
they get the
like
tattoo,
them,
then they get the they get a tattoo, like they get.
It's gonna happen. Like, there's got to be one guy out there for sure.
Yeah.
It's
more
usually
power to you, man. More power to you.
The mullet, yeah.
That person, okay, that person is usually over 350 pounds and from Alabama, and it's a female.
Or his name is Owen, and he lives in Orlando, and he just read us a diary entry and tried to pass it off on Shay Phelan or Chris Phelan.
Hey, you know what? We'll get into some more WWE talk as we do our predictions. We're doing some predictions now.
Oh, nice.
Let's get into
this predictions music. Is this the brochachos predictions?
Yeah, bro. I just wanted to keep it chill, right? Because like,
keep it chill.
You know, we'll keep it chill. We can talk a little bit about Raw here. We can talk a little bit about SmackDown. All the things.
We don't got to be in the fast lane yet.
Well, I mean, it's only 5 matches for this fast lane so far. I'm sure they'll announce more on Friday. by the time the show goes on. But woo, we gotta nail at least these 5 matches. And I see some very mediocre matchmaking, if I'm being quite honest with you. Like I'm seeing of these 5 matches, it looks like a pretty shit pay-per-view. Are we in agreement there?
They're like, hey, you gotta focus on NXT. I know we got a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
We got an NXT against AEW.
Look over there, NXT. Like, because I don't see. Well, I see. All right, of the big names, all I see is one guy that's appearing on both, and that's John Cena. Not even Cody, bro. Not even Cody. Not advertised for the pay-per-view. So I'm sure.
And you may not even see John Cena, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah, we might not even see him.
Sorry.
And also, gosh, this is like the first time that I haven't seen Roman Reigns on TV or a pay-per-view in forever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's because he's taking a break. We'll start. Oh no, Cody Rhodes is on there. I'm a dumbass because they're taking on the Judgment Day, aren't they? Him and Cody and Jey Uso are taking on.
No, they're taking on. Yeah, you're right.
Balor and Priest for the undisputed tag team championships. So like the Judgment Day, they got the championships and they're taking on Cody and Jey. This whole Cody Jey thing is still fucking weird to me, and I don't get it. Really like it. I guess it's to give Jey the rub. I don't really think that they should put the tag team championships on Cody and Jey. So I'll say straight up that the Judgment Day need to probably be winning those belts, and I'm going to guess that. That's for damn goddamn sure.
I mean, I think this is how Cody finishes the story.
Oh, yeah, that's what he needed, was the belts. He needed the belts with Jey Uso. It's what he dreamt of from the beginning.
Yeah.
To meet a little Samoan boy and thug out with him and win the tag champ.
That's his next tattoo. Is a big Samoan fucking.
Yeah.
It's Cody's next tattoo.
Yeah. It's like a Samoan mural thing, but it's kind of like one of those like magic eye things. When you look at it, it actually is Jay's face. Like it's
Yeah. And it's in the shape
weird.
of a skull.
Can you do a magic eye tattoo? Can you? I've never thought. Have you known anybody?
I'm sure
someone's
you can,
done
but
that, right?
I guess your skin and stuff's so malleable. Like
it would probably fuck it up, right?
In 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
So I would think that like you'd have to be at like the perfect angle, right?
Huh. And then you'd have to stand there for a while people cross their eyes at your back or whatever.
You're like you just gotta like pretend that you're stare at that dot for 90 seconds. You just like hold your arm out.
It's a schooner.
It's a schooner, exactly.
Yeah, it's a schooner.
What do you guys have more to say though? I mean, we obviously do your predictions, but do you have more to say about this match? It's kind of a weird setup, right? The whole Cody thing right now, like in the Jey Uso thing. Like, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Cody said that we have moved on from the bottom of the third or whatever recently in that promo. If he meant this, and this is the next chapter that we're in, it's a very boring chapter.
Yeah.
And also, how fucking long is it?
We're talking about 7 innings, right?
Long.
How many? Well, no, we got 9 innings in baseball. So if we're only we're still in the third, this is too long. This is
well, Cody just said in that promo that
I know we did
past the third, and I'm like, what does that mean?
I'd finish the fucking story already.
Yeah, like how many chapters are? I hope there's 5 at tops, maybe 4. If we're in the 4th now, I'd like that to be the final chapter, please.
So I think maybe what has to happen or something is now that they're gonna have like Jey get it off Roman so that Cody takes it off Jey. Like, that's so shit. Like,
that's awful.
Yeah, it's so shit.
Do that.
I don't know, dude.
I think what's going to happen, and I don't know if you said your prediction yet for this, but
I said Judgment Day. I think
it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, and here's why.
Wow.
Here's what I hope for. I hope that this turns into a way where we get Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso to split the belts, and so we have Raw Tag Team Champions and SmackDown Tag Team Champions again. Because I hate I hate the unified championship.
Well, it
for these
does.
belts.
It absolutely does play into.
I don't know how that's
this...
going to happen, but I still also see a lot of there's a lot of Judgment Day infighting, and I could see this loss being the thing that gets Finn Balor and Damian Priest finally fighting. So that's why I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso.
I mean, they're big enough opponents to be able to do something like that. You bring up a great point about that, like, brand split thing, because we just had that weird like trade of Jey Uso coming over to Raw, and now it's like we're still right, and we're still in flux as to who's going over to SmackDown. So if it was Cody all along and they won the belts, then they'd have to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jey, I've got to go over here," which like makes no sense in WWE lore, really. But they, will just talk you into it because we think we're goldfish. So that
it gives Cody way back to the bloodline too.
I just don't think it's time for the Judgment Day. I don't know.
Dom did just win the title back on NXT.
Yeah, I'm sticking with it.
Came back after 2 weeks, all angry, yelling at everyone, yelling at Damian.
Mommy was not happy.
Not happy.
What are you going with, Matthew? You think Judgment Day, or you thinking Cody and Jey take it?
Yeah,
that's a weird one.
Yep.
That's a weird one.
What about you, Matthew? Did you say Judgment Day?
No, that's what I'm asking.
I didn't say, but I am going to go Judgment Day. But you raised some good points,
Great
Jay,
points.
and I think that like even as you were saying it, I was crafting like all these other storylines of like if Cody and Jey won it, then there could be a thing with like Jimmy and Jey eventually realizing they're a better tag team, right? Or Cody kind of like turns on Jimmy, like because like they team against him and Roman and like a tag team.
Jimmy's gonna cost them the match, and the Judgment Day are going to win, and then Jimmy might even join the Judgment Day. I mean,
but his song is already like "I'm on my own." He already so he can't. He can't go back and re-record it. Well, now I'm with the Judgment Day.
Wait, no. They wanted Jey to be in the Judgment Day, not Jimmy. They wanted Jey.
I thought Jey was the one who had the song. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
They wanted Jey to be in the Judgment. So I'm saying that Jimmy interferes and joins the Judgment Day. Fuck you, Jey. Judgment Day. Judgment Day.
Turns his back on the bloodline again.
Yeah, dog. That's like what they're all about. They do it like every other week. It's what they're all about. Like it's their thing. Either that or Solo in the Judgment Day. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
There you go.
Dude, this is. Have you ever read 100 Years of Solitude? Do you know that book?
No.
It's
I'm not educated.
It's a very famous book, but like the family genealogy, these people all have this exact same name, and it goes back like multiple generations. So they have like a family tree and like map because of the way the story is told throughout it. It's very confusing and hard to get through. But then once you kind of get it, you're like, oh, I don't even have to look at this family tree anymore. And you're like, oh, it's kind of cool. But I think they've kind of gone that route. And that was a long book and hard to get through. You appreciate it at the end. And I just hope they don't do that.
Judgment Day or Cody and Jey? Matthew.
Oh, I said Judgment Day.
Okay, you did. I didn't catch it. My bad. What else?
I said that at the top of the diatribe.
Why does this match exist, and why? I mean, I definitely don't really care. But we got the Latino World Order with Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and either one of those two dudes who gives a shit about, because they haven't done anything for them to build us that we would care about either of them, versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I mean, this feels like a Street Profits victory, obviously, in a world, I don't know, a LWO, like, fucking meltdown or something. I don't know.
They're there to represent, sell merchandise, and be able to win things sometimes when they need to just a little pick-me-up, but beyond that, they can be beat.
But also, Bobby Lashley has been, like, dicks to the Street Profits lately, because they've been losing. Like, there's some tension there with those guys there. I don't know.
I think you got a lot of big egos rolling through that group.
Yeah.
All three of them.
I think
he's got to establish some dominance.
They look good together, right? Like,
yeah, they do.
Like, honestly, like, I like Street Profits in suits. Like, Suit Profits is cool. I like it.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I think it'd be dumb to because the only other
Keep
thing
making them strong. They stay together. Just keep making them strong.
yeah,
LWO is going to be fine losing this.
I think so
they
too.
don't need to win.
All right. Well, I'm definitely going with. I mean, are we calling it? It's not the Hurt Business, but I mean, I'm calling it the Hurt Business. The suit profits.
The suit profits. Yeah.
Suit profits.
Yeah, the suit profits.
Yeah, that's better. That's suit. All right. Across the board, then, good old SP's taking it.
Yeah. And don't worry, brochacho. Like I'm just gonna I'm gonna vote the same as you, so we can.
Oh yeah, well yeah, well I need you.
See, that's bullshit. I'm gonna pull some shenanigans. One of you guys is gonna get. One of you is gonna wake up at 2 a.m. and get kicked in the balls. I'm gonna be like shenanigans.
Well, you live way closer to me, so
yeah, that's true.
Security.
That's true.
Well, okay. I think it would be fair then for us to go first. So you probably should get the next pick, brochacho. You should probably get the next pick on this one. Io Sky, because I need a lot of help with this one. I think you could help out Io Sky, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair. A women's title match here. This is it's a tough one, right?
I mean, I don't think Io's run has been, and I like Io Sky. There's just not the charisma in the run, but at the same time, I don't know if
Asuka's popping down to NXT just to say,
Charlotte doesn't need it.
And then there's Charlotte, who, well, maybe are they strapping up Charlotte so Jade can come up? There's that. You could do that.
I still like the idea of doing the gimmick with Jade, letting her.
I do too. But I'm just saying alternate.
Run through Chelsea Green a few times and some other people, right? I think I'm saying Io.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, brochacho. We're both
brochacho. We're on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, you voted. We're voting the same, man. We're
the same.
We're brochachos.
So yeah, I think I'm leaning Io on this one too. I definitely don't see Asuka taking it. Only way I would see it working with Charlotte Flair is because they have been building her up lately.
Again,
so I could see them wanting to do a run, but the thing is, we really haven't gotten the Io Sky versus Bayley match yet, which I really do think you need to have that be for the title when those two finally break up. So yeah, I'm going with Io Sky on this one.
Yeah, too. It feels like it's not quite time to take it off her yet. They still really haven't let people see what Io can do. There's been a lot. It does feel like she's kind of been handcuffed, and maybe that is language barriers or whatever it is, but it's, I don't know, too soon really.
I think I just want to see her with just 15%, 10% more attitude, and then build from there. I just want to see a little bit more attitude in the out of ring, performing. I think just a little bit more aggressiveness, behind her would work. That would start doing it more for me. And I think I love her otherwise.
You know what I would do? I would put makeup of a blood drip on one side. I would.
Was she a vampire?
Yeah, well, just one side. It's just you don't know. That's what I would do.
Or she has a split lip, or
you don't know. It's
I've always liked her as
she's Japanese. She's weird. She's got a
boss, type thing, which I think she would just knock out of the park. But
I like that. I like that. Female suits too. That could be good. Yeah. That could be good. John Cena, LA Knight versus the Bloodline. Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. No Roman Reigns, as previously mentioned, with Paul Heyman, of course.
He could be a special guest referee.
Yeah.
He ain't doing that. Motherfucker ain't doing that. He is making too much. Nah, he's staying home. He's getting paid to stay home. I mean, John Cena and LA Knight have to win this, right? Like that's like the thing. They gotta win this. They gotta win this. Of course they do. Of course they do. It's LA Knight, baby. You know, like yeah.
And John Cena.
And yeah, it's John Cena, and yeah, you can't have
I mean,
Solo
we
and
did
Jimmy
see
beating
this match,
LA Knight, and
didn't we,
come
Jay?
on.
We saw this after
We-
SmackDown. We saw the dark match of this.
We did see this dark match.
Oh,
You're
was
right.
it?
So I
Yeah.
feel like that's what they're working up to. Actor strike is about over too. So
Yeah,
who
you
knows
gotta
how much longer John
send
Cena's
Cena
gonna be
home.
sticking around.
Exactly.
But I mean, they
still
they
gotta
have to
win.
keep playing this this story that they've been doing of the bloodline breaking up, and this loss would be another
Yep.
nail in that coffin. So
Cena, LA Knight. It's more about LA Knight than it is Cena.
yeah, LA Knight's the guy. Which, by the way, did you see there's pictures of the Slim Jim campaign that started with
Yeah.
him? So he's the new Slim Jim guy.
He's the new Mach, man. He's got
Boogs
the
Yeah,
he's
good
got
for
the
him.
gig.
Pissed.
I know, poor Books.
He's like, that was his lifelong
Oh,
dream.
Oh, he'll get it one day. Boogs will be back. Don't you worry. I got faith. Boogs will be
I
back.
just feel like he just looks like a Slim Jim
shit.
guy.
no, he
Yeah,
is.
or energy drink guy. Like he could
Yeah.
totally hawk Monster Energy or Tiger
Yeah.
Milk.
Yeah.
What was he did that Old Spice one, right? He did the Old Spice commercial with WWE. He did the Old Spice something. It was like night. I'm night.
Oh, that's
Hawk.
right. Yeah.
He,
Oh, really?
He did that. Yeah. Like one of those like wacky
Yeah, that's right. I
esoteric
forgot about
like
that,
Old Spice commercials. He was in that. So yeah, I'm going. Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Cena Knight, right? I mean, we're
Brochacho,
going that
come on.
brochacho.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, across the board as well. Oof. We're tearing this up right now. We're tearing this up.
I mean, yeah. Unless WWE is like, we're playing checkers, they're playing chess, then I think this is pretty straightforward.
yeah. Well, it's kind of one of them. It seems like one of them pay-per-views. Ooh, buddy. I guess this will main event. I think Shinsuke and Finn, or not Shinsuke and Finn, Shinsuke and Seth.
I just want this to be over.
It's been on way too long.
I just
I mean,
over. I like.
do they give
Seth
it to
could lose
Shinsuke?
it.
Do they
This thing
give it?
doesn't mean anything to me
I
right
think
now.
I think they're gonna
especially
do
with
it.
this
I think they're
feud.
gonna.
Like, Shinsuke, I don't think is gonna really bring anything to it, and I don't think he's gonna be great with it.
I'm gonna go. I think Shinsuke. I think we should go brochacho. I mean, it's the last prediction of the night. I think we should Shinsuke this. If
I
I'm
mean, I
being
think you
honest.
have to. Like, if not, you've been playing the Seth Rollins like storyline with the back. I'm just saying, I don't think he's gonna be a good champion, but I don't think you have anything else or any other like long build for Seth Rollins. So I'm in agreement.
Yeah, I
with you,
think,
like,
and I
this
think
is
he, I
when
think
you
he
do it.
is the definition of a transitional champion. To be able to put it on, we'll figure that out at a later date, and they don't even know. They don't
Yeah.
even know.
I was just saying I don't like the whole thing.
You might not like it, but I'm
But
going.
it's happening.
I'm
I get
going.
it.
I'm going Shin. I'm going Shin on this. We're brochachos are going Shin. What are you doing, Jay?
I'm gonna go with Seth because I think there's a longer story to tell with Seth's back, and I don't think Shinsuke is the guy to break it. I don't know if we're gonna end up getting like, oh god, I hate to see Lesnar come back in and be that guy, but someone's gonna break Seth's back, and Seth's gonna take a long 6-month trip and be a family man for a bit, and let him come back to just uproarious applause.
Let Gunther lose the title to Gable or whatever, and let him break Seth's back.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. So yeah, so something like that. I could see Seth taking it. So I'm going against you guys on this. So
All right.
Fair enough.
it's going to be that Judgment Day match or this match. So
Are you sure
Winner-
you don't want to phone a friend?
no, I'm good.
I mean, we got our brochachos here, so
I like.
This is like the Righteous versus MJF match. Sorry to make you guys righteous, but it's 2-on-1, man. This is bullshit.
I mean, we are brochachos, and I am injured, so he's like pulling up my weight.
You're both injured. That's the problem.
That's why it's 2 against 1. We're both injured. That equals 1 unemployed.
So you only got 2 arms to defend it. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even.
Oh,
We could
but
do
we
it,
got-
but
we
we
got
could
it.
do a double kangaroo kick.
Oh,
Is
oh,
there any other? Is there any other match you guys could see getting added to this?
oh, I'm sure they've got some. They've got to add something. I mean,
Got to be at
I-
least one or two.
I
but
watch
don't know
Smack.
what.
I follow SmackDown a little less, so I'm kind of like I would assume it would be a match that would be added on SmackDown at this point, right? Unless I mean, there is the potential though. No, there isn't.
We don't
No,
have we don't have Gunther on this card, so
Yeah,
you could get Gable Gunther one more time.
yeah, but if you're doing that next time, Gable has to win it. So I think that's kind of
true,
I think
yeah.
that's kind of
Well,
silly.
isn't that they were supposed to sign for or something last night? They keep doing this and then having like the main event because they were like, yeah, we're gonna sign for Fastlane or something for Gunther versus Ciampa, and then they were like, no, we're doing it on Monday Night Raw. And I think
I missed
again, that's
most
also
of
to try
Raw
and keep
last.
building stuff.
Yeah, I missed most of Raw last night, but I'm assuming that the Wikipedia for this event would be, like kind of up to date from last night. So
It
Yeah,
is,
no, I know,
I-
but I'm just saying, like, if we
Right.
do have a SmackDown. I don't.
yeah,
Gunther's crossed over.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't.
They'll probably throw like a Kofi Kingston versus someone on there.
He's been pretty
wrestling
active.
with.
He's been
Ivar.
active. Yeah.
Oh, that's next.
Yeah.
Oh, Drew's been in a program with Kofi, kind
Oh.
of. So who knows?
Yeah.
Drew Kofi might actually be a good match. Like that actually,
Yeah,
that
that could be,
actually
yeah.
could be a
Drew
really.
did have a weird thing on Raw this week where he like won the match and then he like took the mic. If I'm remembering correctly. Either way, he took the mic but I think he won a match and then took the mic and he's like, "Hey, here's how he's like, I guess if once you say I'm sorry, then like people forget about it. So I'm sorry."
I
For
saw.
the way I was like, what the fuck was
Yeah,
that?
well,
I was
they're
like, it was
obviously
so
turning.
bad.
They're obviously turning him
Just-
heel.
That's some high school stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
It was so weird.
They're clearly turning him heel, but they're not doing a great job
it
with
was
like
a
the
bad
character of what they're doing there. Like that actually needs to be treated very delicately because I think if you fuck this another Drew run up, that might be it with him with WWE. Like I don't know how many. Like he's just never worked, right? Like it's just never clicked.
but he's
Somehow.
got a sword. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That
They
Vince
need,
gave him.
and they do need to ditch that. They would, you know what I want? He needs to be Jungle Boy's dad. He needs to be Jungle Boy. He needs to be Jungle Boy's dad. Like and they need to both be uncharismatic and figure it out together. I don't know, like because that's unfair to Drew. He's been charismatic from time to time, but
Yeah, Jungle Boy quite hasn't.
no, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. Is there anything else you guys want to really get to before we get out of here? I'm kind of
Yeah, I
I'm
wanted
kinda done
to
there.
say, have you guys watched that Netflix?
The wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's really.
I haven't yet.
I'm
Well-
5 episodes in. I want to say I haven't finished
Did you
it. but
ever
I'm-
watch? Did you ever watch Monster Factory?
I didn't watch.
Apple?
I didn't watch Monster Factory. No,
Okay.
yeah.
Very reminiscent of that, like almost exactly same story.
Really, really. Did they just rip it off?
I don't know if they. I mean, I just feel like this is what the wrestling, if you're trying to like build a promotion, is, right? I think that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah,
Like that's what I
yeah,
get out of
yeah.
it, right? Like you're fucking stuck for money. You're trying to get fans. Like like you have these wrestlers. They're all fucking like super independent, and have these other jobs and lives and things going on, but like wanting to do this, but like they're also struggling in certain other ways. So it's an interesting look into things.
Without spoiling it, I will say that there's tons of, if you know Layla Gray from AEW, she's all over it. She was definitely wrestling in AEW, and by the way, she's just gorgeous. So it's like,
Yeah.
she is the most attractive thing on that program by like a mile and a half, because the rest of the things that you look at are just not attractive. Like it's Ohio, it's Kentucky, it's not good looking people, it's sweaty gyms, it is the underbelly of wrestling. And good on Al Snow for buying that company and trying to keep it afloat for what it is. It doesn't look terrible, it's I wouldn't call it a super indie, it's like a mid indie. And mid is definitely mid, but I can definitely see, like, there were one or two people on their roster, right, Matthew? I think you'd agree that, like, okay, you might have a shot, like Shira, right? Like they're a world champion who was in, I guess, TNA and was um they had the whole thing in India, their like partnership.
Yeah, he was like the big wig. Over
Yeah,
there.
and so he's been like kind of, I think, the guy that's been like the tent pole for that place. Like he's been holding it up like strong.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still there. I don't know if he like what's going on with him. I know he gets injured in the series. That is a spoiler, sorry. But yeah, you know, it's following their lives. What did you think of Hollywood Haley J? Yeah.
That girl's trouble, dude.
She is trouble. That girl is trouble.
Yeah, I thought she was from Florida.
Oh, dude. She's got that just like what is it? Catch Me Outside. Like,
yeah, dude.
She's got that.
And
she's
like,
got that.
She even talked about it with her boyfriend. She's like, they're like, so has he? Because he like laid hands on her, and then he was like, they were like, well, would he ever? She was hurt you or something? She's like, I've done the most damage. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, every time I take it too far. Like,
and they're both wrestlers.
Yeah.
So like, he's like way older than her.
Yeah, he's 36. She's 22.
Yeah, and like they're trying to make it work throughout the series, and like, and he's been wrestling for like 20 years at this point, or something close, or 15 years, I think. Like something.
Yeah.
Like, he's been wrestling for a while.
And she's been doing it for a couple of years.
And she's been doing it,
like,
but she's like rocketing,
popular.
like super popular and rocketing to fame, and like that's obviously going to her head, but it's also like kind of fucking with his head.
Yeah, but she's also got like a little Britney in her. You know what I mean?
She's definitely a little crazy. Apparently, she did have a tryout with WWE very recently, but was sent home or something.
She's like the Matt Riddle of
yeah. She smokes. Yeah, she smokes weed all. She smokes weed all.
She's
like,
always smoking weed.
Getting in. Also keeps catching her from smoking weed, and he's like, "Stop doing it! I'm gonna fire you," and he never does because he's like, "That's my only
like,
female."
No fans
around. Yeah. That's like only female.
She's like, I have epilepsy. It's like I had a seizure like 13 years ago, and then I smoked weed. I've never had a seizure since. So,
but there is something.
Medicine.
There is something like kind of like it's not nostalgic. There's something kind of cute about the whole thing. I don't know what it is. It's like seeing Al. It's like seeing Al Snow play with his wrestling figures, but being really pissed off Al Snow while he does it. Like,
dude, all those wrestling promoters in every one of these, they're all so pissed off and angry.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't look fun.
No, like, yeah, I imagine Tony Khan's life. Like, I mean, Tony Khan's life, he laughed. I think someone in an interview, like, what do you think you work? Like 80 hours a week? And he's like, ha, yeah, that was before Collision. You know, like, so I can't imagine, right? Like, like what?
Well, he
does
like the football stuff too. So
yeah, the football and the Premier League soccer team as well. Like he's still got that, and then he, you know, like it.
Did you hear? He told his dad, he's like, if anything ever happens to me, give this company to Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
he's the one who can. He's the one who could run it, and I actually believe that too. I mean, he would be fantastic with it. But yeah, Tony, I get worried he's going to get spread so thin. I mean, dude is just...
Yeah, it's a big issue. I mean,
so much.
And it didn't show for the first couple years of Dynamite, right? We're on tonight was the 4-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite.
Wow,
and it didn't show for the first couple years. And they did some amazing stuff during the pandemic even.
Yeah. But
it's showing now. It's starting to show with the Ring of Honor acquisition, with just like this many years too building up, like the CM Punk stuff, and you know, like even just like dealing with the other EVPs and the the Jerichos and the Omegas and every single ego that you have in that roster. That's got to build over 4 years. It's maybe a little fun at first and you can deal with it, but by 4 years, 5 years in, you're like, you know, like it's getting to him. I'm sure. He's gonna have to hand over a portion of his responsibilities in some fashion or form at some point. Like it's not. It can't be.
He is a billionaire, so like we think that it might be cocaine. It's probably just adrenochrome. That's what it is. It's just adrenochrome. He's got like that Illuminati feed, and it just keeps him awake and allows him to keep working. And I think that's how it goes.
I mean, who knows?
That's why he doesn't blink. Like,
look up if he donated. Look up
if they're actually blinking really fast. It just looks like it's not.
Look up if he donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign,
exactly.
and we'll figure out if he had the adrenochrome. And I mean, we'll tie it all together. I mean, we'll make a nice little conspiracy. But in all reality, I actually don't think he's on. I'm not saying he's never done cocaine. I don't think he's on cocaine. I think he's on a like weird mix of prescription drugs that are like
coffee. He drinks a lot of coffee in those media scrums, like multiple cups.
Yep. And
he's like late at night where he is.
Like he's fucking wired, but I don't know that it's cocaine. He's just like, I know how weird I can act when I've had too much coffee, and then sometimes it looks like maybe he had too much coffee and got a little high, like hit a toot pen or something to like get out there like in front of people, and he's just like, got that weird like he's energized, but he's kind of like but a little dead behind the eyes, a little spacey, like. That's what Tony Khan looks like to me, to be honest with you. I think he's actually kind of a bit of a like, he manages his stress with pot. I think and I've there's been some rumors about that he smokes weed. So I don't know, just saying.
Well, I will say this about other TV shows. So, I have a Samsung TV, and like a lot of TVs, like even I think LG and stuff, they have their own little thing with like a bunch of channels that just like play like 24 hours a day. Like mine used to be like the Baywatch channel, and I like watched every episode.
Unsolved Mysteries. Unsolved Mysteries is a great one.
That's all it is. Anytime you turn your TV on, and then you just get sucked into episodes, right?
Yeah.
So I've like gone through and like changed certain things.
I need to do the Baywatch
because Bella really liked it too.
I'm gonna start the Baywatch one this week. I'm gonna start Baywatch channel. I'm gonna start watching some Baywatch.
Dude, do it, and then you'll be stoked when the wrestling one comes on.
Oh,
too,
Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair,
and Hulk Hogan, and it's like they have that whole match on the beach. Piper's in it too.
Well, okay, so there's the W. Well, okay, there's that, but there's one with Shawn Michaels isn't in the same one.
No, he's not in that one.
Yeah,
he's in a different.
So
one.
that's interesting. Baywatch was the real Forbidden Door. Because it worked with WCW and WWF.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good call. But I recently switched to Vice, and so they've been playing. If it's not the Action Bronson, fuck this tastes good or whatever. It's like they've been playing this thing called The Wrestlers. This Vice. Have you seen that?
That's
super interesting. Dude. Each episode they go and it's a documentary crew that like goes and they go to like a country and they look at the wrestling in that culture and country, like not thinking about
I haven't
WWE. So they did, and you'll like even see like I saw Tony Storm in the background or something with Japanese.
Yeah, they do an episode on Ray Phoenix in Penta too.
Dude,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
really
and that's a great episode, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
Well, that's confusing because that's confusing as hell because the Netflix one is called The Wrestlers, right? Like they're both by the same name.
This one's The Wrestlers : and then
the name of whoever.
Then the name.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds
it's really cool.
I like a lot of the Vice stuff too.
I completely forgot about that show.
Yeah. I don't know when it came out, but it's
I've never heard of it.
It came out the same year as Dark Side of the Ring. Like so, it was out, and it was a good season or two. I think they did of it.
Maybe we all missed it because Dark Side of the Ring was so just like explosive, I guess, at that time, and was like that might have probably been why I think I would have missed it, but. That's interesting. Like, and I think did they say, I think they're doing more of them. Like, I think they said they are. Like, I think they need to take a break, if I'm being honest, for like a little bit. But it takes a long time to make those, it feels like
I think so too. I think they got out of what they're trying to do, which is promotion and get more eyes on the product. It did its job. Something like Netflix, I would think that did more than the Apple one. I don't know what subscribers and numbers, but I mean the Monster Factory one was like I said, the same story. This one was a little more interesting, maybe to me, but that's just my opinion.
Fair enough. Well, it's about that time we wrap things up for the evening. unless we have any last thoughts as we get
One
out of here.
last quick
That's
thought.
it. That's
Do you
what we
guys
do.
think Matt Riddle ends up anywhere? Does anyone take the chance on Matt Riddle?
Not for a long
I don't think anyone
time.
does.
Jail.
Not for a long time.
There you go.
MLW.
Did you guys see the video of him at the airport? I mean, that was. He was pretty drunk.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all kidding aside, he's gonna end up in like GCW or something for a match. He will.
Yeah.
He will.
DDT.
Eh,
They don't. Well, maybe they're a little more honorable over there.
yeah, I don't
I
know
bet
about
he'll
that
go
one.
do a bar wrestling.
He can't get in
like-
Japan because he can't not smoke weed, and we
That's true.
you know, so like that ain't happening. He ain't going to
Yeah.
Japan.
He's gonna go to Southern California and do like, PWG and bar wrestling.
See, I don't think I don't know. PWG, I'd be skeptical of them, with all the controversies they've had, especially with like Joey Ryan and all that shit, to throw Matt Riddle in a PWG ring that'd be kind of silly on them. So I think you will see it. I think you'll see some. There's always going to be a renegade promoter that's like going to, try and be the Howard Stern of wrestling promoters and make some controversy and like book a guy, but and it all depends.
Yeah.
And it all depends if they have the money. Someone will pay him eventually. I would guess it's going to be a couple years before you hear Matt Riddle's name in a positive light anytime soon. I think, even in a lot of ways, it's sort of similar to how bad of a reputation once upon a time Kurt Angle had. And it's not to say that
Ankle. Yeah.
it's not to say that you can't come back from that. And I hope Riddle does. But Riddle seems like he's on a bad trajectory, needs to, kind of get his shit together. And maybe one day they give him a shot again once he's proven that he can be a decent human being. And Angle did it. Angle had to do all that, right? Angle had to rebuild his reputation. So and good on him, he did it. I'm not saying it's impossible. This is going to be the weirdest thing. Apart from a rando indie that he gets for a few $1,000 or something, the next time you see him in a major professional wrestling company will be WWE.
Yeah.
That's
I wouldn't be surprised to see him like in a Bellator or back in MMA or something before that. But yeah, I agree. I'm not going to see him in pro wrestling until
Yeah, this is the fire you, we had plans for you, shape up kid type thing. Like
yeah,
And then they'll bring him back at a Rumble like a couple years down the road.
they will. That
him
sounds
and
about
Velveteen
right.
Dream will both be in a tag team.
Yeah.
What could have been?
I don't even think they're that bad. I wouldn't even be that surprised if he was
Instead
in
of retribution, they could be rehabilitation.
I wouldn't be. I would. I think it could be a publicity stunt to a certain degree because of the amount of like attention it's got from like the Endeavor media with Dana White and all this stuff. That it is kind of like one of those. Look, see, we did something fire rings, and now he's good, and he's back in this next year's Rumble. I would not.
Right.
I would not even be that fucking surprised. So, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're out of here. It's getting late over here in Florida on the East Coast. By the way, guys, we're gonna be getting down into the 60s, the cool 60s next week. Yeah, man, we got.
Don't get too cold,
dude. I'm gonna have to. That's tracky weather, man. Like we're
some tracky boy.
We're getting tracky boys are coming back
Tracky boy
very
season.
soon. Tracky boy season's coming, man. ONORadioshow.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun this evening. Thank you to Matthew and thank you to Jay for joining me on this auditory wrestling nonsense journey. If, like we mentioned earlier on the show, if you want to cut a wrestling promo for us, you should do that. You should leave a voicemail, 407-906-6466. Cut us. I mean, you can cut. I don't want you to copy promos, right? I want you to make your own promo. I don't want you cutting a promo. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but I want your own promo.
Yeah, and if you need something to do it at the show.
Oh,
or
yeah.
like,
Cut a
you
promo
know,
at me.
Or at Owen.
Yeah, it's
Or
usually
like
at
a
me.
daycare or something, you know.
Oh, daycares are good,
Or better yet, record yourself on our voicemail calling a daycare and cutting a promo live to them.
Yeah. Tell them how kids are stupid. Like, tell them how stupid kids are, and and like, what are you doing this for? Kids are stupid. You picked a terrible line of work, and I bet you're a fatso. And then you go on from there, and that's what I would do. Anyway, we thank you for listening. 407-906-6466 if you ever want to do that. Again, 407-906-6466. Twitch.tv/ONRS Live if you ever want to tune in. Make sure you subscribe there. We usually list that it's Ohno Wrestling, and you can watch us and join in the chat live with us. Patreon.com/ONRS if you ever want to donate your hard-earned bucks. That ONRS, of course, stands for Ohno Radio Show, which is the comedic big brother of this show. And we do that every Thursday, and you need to find that on your podcast feed as well. Just search for Ohno Radio Show. Find us on YouTube. I'm not giving out any more URLs. Boys, what do we want to do when we get out of here? We usually like to give them a little bit of a, what do we call it? Woo!